Next on Saratoga Live, after facing some of the top 3-year-old turf fillies in the country, Altia gets some class relief in search of her first win in the States. She'll have to catch Cool Beans, who should be cruising along on the lead. She looks to cross the wire first for the first time in her career after winning via disqualification. And we'll preview Saturday's showdown in Saratoga's signature race for 3-year-old fillies, where Midnight Bisou looks to get back into the winner's circle after her runner-up finish in the Coaching Club American Oaks. All that and more coming up on this Thursday edition of Saratoga Live. It is presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Great to have you with us on Fox Sports 2 and other regional networks across the country. This is the summer place to be out on the East Coast, the premier race meet in the country, and we have a full house today. Fans taking in the action at Saratoga. Greg Wolf alongside former New York Met, LA Dodger, Paul LaDuca, and we have a very good turf race coming up for 3-year-old fillies in today's 8th race here. We talked about Altia in the opening here. She has had 4 starts here in the States for Chad Brown. Graded stake after graded stake. Yeah. Hasn't been able to get there. Does the class relief get her to the wire first today?
Well, we'll find out, right? She's a 3-year-old filly that's danced almost every dance, and you can argue that she's been a kind of horse that hangs a little bit with 4 seconds, but you also can argue that Adina Del Sur, Toinette, and Daddy is Legend are all very quality fillies and would all probably be 4 to 5 to 3 to 5 in the spot. And listen, she put the blinkers on last time. She was able to go by Daddy is a Legend, but Daddy is a Legend just had a little bit more in the tank. She's well clear of the 3rd place finisher, and she's definitely the horse to beat in the features today.
And filly, you saw her chasing right there, winding up second too. Yeah, we'll see in the Lake Placid coming up this weekend. As Paul mentioned, Daddy is a Legend. She is a very good one. Get signed up, started, play along. Bet $200. You get a new member bonus when you use the promo code Saratoga Live. Go to NYRABets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime, or download the Naira Bets app to get involved and get involved in a Pick 4 that we have coming up. Weather and track conditions brought to you by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of the Saratoga Racecourse. Piranha on, pests gone. Main track is fast turf condition, listed as firm. And we're not messing around. We got a race coming up here almost immediately. Race 7 kicks off the Pick 4, mile and an 1/8. Non-winners of 3 lifetime. Chamber, I'm sorry, maiden special weight, 6.5 furlongs. Chamber for Chad Brown. High expectations. The word appears to be out on this filly for her debut.
Yeah, this is a homebred for Judmont that has had great works in the morning. Now, the mama could run a little bit. Sightseek, she banked over $2.4 million. Now, she hasn't thrown many fulls, but obviously the money is out. She's warmed up pretty aggressively so far. I'm going to go 259 all. There's my single to 7. I'm going to stick with Altia. I'm going to give her one more shot. I just think she's going to win today. And then 2, 4, 6, 7 in race number 9. Don't leave out Espresso Shot or maybe Plink Freud. Clever name in the last.
I know the 2 we're going to go to downstairs, like that one you just mentioned in the nightcap. Let's check in with New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling and Gabby Gaudet.
Thanks a lot, Greg. Well, it's guessing with first-time stars. They appear to be the live ones here. But right now, and you and I were interested in the 8, Face It. But Chamber for Chad Brown, 2 to 1 for the daughter of the champion, Sightseek.
Of course, and actually talked to Chad Brown on yesterday's show, and he mentioned that this filly had been breezing with Civil Union, who actually won, albeit on the turf yesterday, but a very impressive horse. So he kind of alluded to this filly yesterday and alluded to her talents.
Well, the board says she has a lot of talent. You know who has a lot of talent? Maggie Wolfendale. Let's hear what she thinks about today's 6th race.
Well, there's a lot of pedigrees in here, that's for sure, Andy. And as you guys said, a daughter of Sightseek in here, but a half to one of my favorite race mares is number 8, Face It, in here. And we've talked a lot about this show, on the show, about Southern Phantom and his white markings. How about Face It? She's aptly named. She's a really cool white marking on her face. Unfortunately, you can't see it right now, but I like this filly. As Kieran McLaughlin said, she has done everything right in the morning. He just said that this race is a little bit on the tough side, but she does look extremely fit. And Kieran's a guy who sometimes his horses appear to need a start as far as fitness, but she seems ready to rock and roll here, Greg, and I'm hoping she can run like her half-sister.
We shall see. 5 to 1 right now on the daughter of Tappet. that has that nice pedigree, and Luis Saez will be aboard.
Yeah, there's like, listen, Maggie hits the nail on the head when it comes to pedigrees. Don't forget the 9 in here for Ralph Nix, reportedly been working okay in the morning. She's a half to Mopetism. And Mopetism, good runner for the Doug O'Neill barn. So maybe not a horse that looks a little longer, maybe you want to go down the road, but you still got Irad Ortiz, your leading rider, aboard. So if you're not in love with 4 to 5 and Chad Brown, there's some pretty good options in here when it comes to pedigree-wise.
You have to be careful about making too big a stand against first-time starters taking this kind of money. It's usually a sign that they can really run, but, you know, sometimes you just bet with your heart a little bit or pick, and the half-sister, to face it, It's Tricky, was one of my all-time favorite horses, a Grade 1 winner who was actually started her career on the inner track. So that's why I liked Face It, but you have to be scared of the money that Chamber's taking.
Of course, but as Maggie was mentioning, there are pedigrees everywhere you look. Even the 4 Lady Hester is out of the mare Questing, who, of course, won the Coaching Club American Oaks, and the Alabama here. And it's intriguing that she actually gets the dirt for the first time because she has the pedigree.
I mean, I'm sure you guys remember Questing. I mean, she was one of these horses. She was like a female Diversify. She just went out as fast as she could and played Come and Catch Me. And the Coaching Club American Oaks, the Alabama, they couldn't get close.
Yeah, she's kind of the X factor of this spot, but an X factor with tons of upside with that pedigree.
Yeah, and she's got 3 bullet works going into this. She's not getting played in this race because of the contentious field, you know, and the layoff. She's going to have to be a lot, and obviously the word on Chamber, the gray filly right there, who looks like she's done nothing wrong in the warm-up, but this is a nice little field. I have a feeling, you know, calling the kettle, I mean, I'm saying Captain Obvious here, but I think this is going to be a key race. You're going to see a couple fillies that are here that might be special.
Loading up and just about set for the start of the late pick 4. Is Chamber ready to roll first time out of the gate? We're about to find out. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Larry Colmus here. We'll take it in just a moment. Just about $500,000 in this pick 4 pool. And Chamber,
would you single?
Expected to be very, very good.
Would you single right now? You've seen the board. This is where the adjustments got to come, right? You want to play this late pick 4. You've seen the board. You singling?
I would.
Okay.
Expected to be talented. Sometimes races like this, you let the board be your friend.
That's true.
Good luck to all. Pick 4 starts right here. Let's go to Larry Colmus.
And here comes Face It up to the starting gate. And Curlism will be the last one to load here. Curlism is in. And they're all in line. They're off. Chamber, the heavy favorite, broke last. It is Mucho Glory who goes straight out to the early lead. Opens up to lead by 2. Hey, good looking at second. Lady Hester is third. Here comes Chamber now through an opening on the inside. Then a break of another 2 back to Curlism, Pink Sands, and at the back of the pack is Face It. Up the back stretch, it is Mucho Glory on top, a length and a half. Lady Hester on the outside, second. Chamber behind the 8 ball after that. Start is third. 3 lengths off the lead through a 21.97 quarter. Hey, good looking is fourth on the outside by 2. Then Curlism and Face It, Pink Sands is the trailer as they round the far turn. Mucho Glory out there on top, the leader by a length and a half. With Lady Hester running in second, Chamber tracks them third by another 2. Curlism is fourth. Face It on the outside gets going. Now takes fourth and set sail for the pace setters. Pink Sands back there in sixth. Coming to the top of the stretch. 44.98 the half. Mucho Glory in front as they turn for home. Lady Hester's a length and a half behind. Chamber trying to unwind from third. A furlong to run. Mucho Glory still there. A 2.5 length lead over Lady Hester and Chamber. And on the far outside, Pink Sands finishing very strongly down the center. And here she comes with a burst of speed. Here comes Pink Sands to win it. Running down Mucho Glory, Lady Hester and Chamber in 1:16.71.
Well, the one with experience who had been here in the States, making her 3-year-old debut. Pink Sands for Shug McGahee. He gets the win in a rough start for the first timer who took all that money.
Yeah, and looking at the stretch run here, we also saw some green performances as the number 8 Face It was kind of all over the racetrack, as was the number 2 Chamber. But this filly with the experience, I mean, she got kind of the pace in front of her. I think just experience paid off here.
Well, this race clearly collapsed in the late stages, and as you say, the experience for Pink Sands, she was able to get it done. A horse who had been going longer distance races before the layoff, and they just went fast early and slowed to a crawl late. We almost were looking at a double pick 6 carryover if Mucho Glory had won at 18-1, but Shug McGahee, Joel Rosario, and Pink Sands ran by all of them.
Yeah, she sure did. You're right. Got the pace to set up here, and Joel made the difference. Listen, he's never been on this filly before. This horse has lost at 25 cents on the dollar. I don't care at 5-1. Tough horse to get to, and is going to play a lot bigger. And Chamber, maybe it did cost him the race. I get it. But Pink Sands, if you had the 1, that's a bad beat. Really rolled home.
3-year-old debut impressive for the daughter of Tappet here for the Shug McGahee barn. Wins it 5-1, 7-1, 4 and 2. Chamber, the 4-5 favorite, finishes 4th in here. Let's go downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
I'm pleased to be joined here in the winner's circle by Shug McGahee. And Shug, you had Pink Sands ready to rock and roll off the layoff here.
Well, I had her ready to run earlier in the summer, and she did something to herself, and I had to kind of back off of her. So, you know, she's been down at Fair Hill and training down there, and we brought her up here about a week ago. And, you know, I thought this was a winnable race, but when she was so far back, I didn't know whether it was winnable or not, you know. Because she, you know, last year as a 2-year-old, she was up kind of close and stopped, but, you know, Joel was patient with her, and she finished up well.
And as you said, a filly that hinted at ability as a 2-year-old. Do you think 6.5 is kind of the starting point for her? Do you think she can go longer than that?
I think she can. I mean, her mother was a splinter, but she's about Tappet. You know, they do anything. So I do think that, you know, we can go on and get her stretched out. She might even be better.
Well, Shug, that was one heck of a turn of a foot. Congrats here with Pink Sands.
Thank you again.
All right, guys, celebrating Pink Sands back and a winner as a 3-year-old.
And with a bright future ahead of her as well. I mean, she was closing like a freight train in this spot here. She wins it 5-1. So late pick 4 begins with a 4-5 favorite defeated. That will play huge as well. In the Naira Bets, late pick 5, Joel Rosario on board for the winning ride here, owned by Gainesway Stable and Andrew Rosen. We're going to take a break in the action. More to come. In fact, we're just getting started here on Saratoga Live. Prices from the 6th, and we'll set up the 7th next.
Once again, among the world's leading sires of stakes horses and graded stakes horses, Warfront has sired 8 champions and 8 millionaires. Recent Grade 1 winners include European champion U.S. Navy Flag and Lancaster Bomber, plus an ever-growing list of 2018 graded stakes winners. In the sales ring, his yearlings continue to bring prices well over $1 million. International Super Sire Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Visit Rivers Casino and Resort, upstate New York's ultimate entertainment destination, with live table game action and the hottest new slots paying out millions. Book your luxury waterfront room or suite at upstate New York's premier resort, the Landing Hotel at Rivers Casino and Resort.
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Gonna turn to the length of the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Back on Saratoga Live, Shug McGahee. A little post-race win conference with Joelle Rosario. Pink Sands getting her maiden breaking score in her 3-year-old debut.
Yeah, they've done that before. They did it in the Kentucky Derby winner's circle at one point. And Pink Sands, this one, a filly by Tap It Out of the Include mare. Her Smile and Joelle, and like we said, Shug, they team up here. Now 1 for 5 lifetime. And maybe this, she's grown up at 3. And you're right, Wolfie. I think she's going to start going longer and get a little bit better.
And they, of course, teamed up to win with Orb. Let's go back to that first-time starter that took so much attention. Chamber, the 2. Oof, ducked inward a little bit, and that was costly.
Yeah, sometimes you don't really want the inside post to one post because of that. Maggie talks about that a lot because you have that sort of where they can duck in that little gap. What ended up happening is Mucho Glory, who was on the front end, broke so sharply that the 2 Chamber didn't. Boom, she saw that gap and she ducked in, and she just had too much work to do. But again, Mucho Glory did a lot of the heavy lifting and just got run down at the end.
Take a look at the Naira Bets late pick 5 follow along. $133,000 in the pool. Super fast. Kicked things off back in race 5 for Rudy Rodriguez with Jose Ortiz and Pink Sands with a major upset here in the second leg with a 4-5 favorite being defeated. That will play big in this sequence here. Here's what we have left for you coming up this afternoon as we settle into the rest of the card here on this Thursday. 1 1/8, 50,000 claiming race for horses who've not won 3 lifetime coming up. The 8th race, that is where we will see Altia, and if she can get it done for Chad Brown with a drop in class, she's been in nothing but graded stakes since she's come to the U.S., and we'll close things out with an ultra-competitive nightcap New York bred maiden special weight 5.5 furlong sprint on the turf. We're going to take a break in the action. When we return, still to come, well, Mineshaft Blues, first-time starter, one of the many intriguing runners in that finale. She is owned in part by Steve Christ, longtime Daily Racing Form executive and columnist, joining the show in just a bit.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. He has won the Travers over American Flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Alice. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Beautiful day here at Saratoga as we come back to Saratoga Live, and I'm very pleased to be joined here on the paddock set by a very special guest, the former publisher of the Daily Racing Form and racing columnist extraordinaire, now retired, and now horse owner, Steve Crist. Steve, how are you?
I'm very good, very excited. I haven't been nervous at the racetrack for a long time, but this is very tantalizing. The first horse I've ever owned even a spec of, and she'll be making her first start in the 9th race today.
Well, it's pretty exciting. Steve, of course, has Mine Shaft Blues in today's 9th race, a first-time star, number 10, trained by Phil Gleaves. And I asked you if you like the horse, and you said to me you have no idea.
I truly have no idea. You know, you always think, oh, if I owned one of these, I'd know how it was going to run today. Or I absolutely don't know what to expect. But, you know, I'm not expecting anything. I mean, I didn't take this up as a way to make money or as an investment. It seemed like it might be fun, and you know what? It has been fun.
Well, that's great. You bought another horse this weekend at the New York Bred Sale as well.
Last Saturday, we bought a Verrazano filly, and we'll take it from there. And with any luck, Mine Shaft Blues and the Verrazano filly will be the foundation of our broodmare band going forward.
Well, that's really exciting to think of all of you becoming a breeder. And, of course, Phil Gleaves, the trainer, somebody you've had a relationship with for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Phil for 35 years. He was one of my first friends around the racetrack. When I spent a year traveling with Devil's Bag, Phil was really my conduit to Woody Stevens and to the whole backstretch. I always said to him, never expecting to own a horse, if I ever own a horse, you're going to train it. And it happened.
That's pretty great. It is pretty great to have the horse and him running. And it's something, I mean, you've been talking to me about this for, I guess, since you bought him last winter or last summer, so it's been a long time. Unfortunately for you, as an exotic player, you said to me you stayed out of the Pick Six carryover because you felt you had to single your horse. You didn't want to, it's not the way you play. You're not a man who singles.
Generally not, and certainly not with anyone's first-time starter. But, you know, I think I have enough action going in the race without needing to play the Pick Six today.
Well, you said before we came here, you're live in the Naira Bet Slate Pick 5. And, you know, something I talk about a lot on the show is your book, Exotic Betting. And to me, it's one of the great books ever written about racing because obviously playing the horses, it's about handicapping, but it's about betting and giving yourself a best chance to win. And you outline in Exotic Betting really the best way to play Pick Sixes, Pick Fives, and Pick Fours as far as your ABC method.
You know, I didn't think the world needed another book about how to pick winners, but I think people have trouble betting these complicated multi-race bets. And the idea of the ABC system is, you know, if you're right in 2 spots, you can be wrong in the 3rd spot. If you can narrow a couple races down, you can spread out in the others and not just all on one ticket. Because as you say over and over, and you're absolutely right, when you put in one ticket, you're weighting every single horse equally. You're giving as much credence to a 3-to-5 shot as a 20-to-1 shot. So put yourself in a situation, if you think the 3-to-5 shot is a likely winner, if he wins, that opens you up somewhere else. If he loses, you're probably going to be tight the rest of the way, but at least you have a chance.
Well, it came up here on Monday, and I thought about it myself afterwards, that difficult horse in the 4-horse field in the first race. For $6 more for me, if I had made that horse a C, I would have hit it because A's won the rest of the way. And you and I were on the phone on Tuesday, and you said to me, I realized I could throw that horse in for $12, and it paid $2,000.
Yeah,
you didn't like the horse,
once
but you
that horse won the first leg, I was very thin. I was like 1 by 1 by 2 by 2 by 3 or something, but I got there.
Right. I've hit Pick Sixes for a couple $1,000s, nothing huge on backup tickets. And as you say, it just gives yourself your best chance to win as opposed to betting in these caveman tickets, which can be very expensive, and weighing every horse the same, a 20-to-1 shot and a 2-to-1 shot, which we rarely believe.
Well, you know, and the problem is that everyone shaves, you know, their ticket and takes 4 horses down to 3 and ends up going 2 by 3 by 4 by 3, and you're never giving yourself a chance to catch that 5th or 6th choice in the wagering that blows up Pick 5s and Pick 6s.
All right, so I hear it's $60 on Amazon. It's not exactly margin of safety, but, you know, that book could become very, very valuable for people to win, so maybe it'll blow up.
Won't do me any good. I'd rather print up 1,000 more and hand them out to people.
Well, maybe perhaps that'll happen. Steve, thanks so much for joining us.
Sure.
I hope Maggie's interviewing you in the winner's circle after the race. That would be really great.
I have no idea.
Thanks a lot for joining us. Steve Crist, of course, the former publisher of the Daily Racing Form, now horse owner, as we get ready to take a break, as Saratoga Live will continue after these messages.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and other regional networks across the country. All-time leading rider, John Velasquez, leaving your screen right there. Nobody has won more here at this prestigious race meet. As we take a look at the horse, Johnny V will be aboard. That is Adulator for Jimmy Jerkins in here, and this one taking a big drop in class. A son of Claiborne's stallion Flatter, bred at Claiborne Farm.
Yeah, Johnny V been battling a little bit of ankle soreness, so he took a couple days off. Now he's back in the saddle. And this son, Flatter, like you said, two different things. One negative is he's 0-7 the last 2 years. One positive is he has 2 wins. One of them here is at Saratoga. It's the only time he's ever ran here, and he does have numbers that fit. That's why he's the favorite.
5-2 right now. Meanwhile, Hollywood Handsome, he too dropping in class. And earlier this year at the fairgrounds, he was second in a graded stakes race, the Grade 2 New Orleans Handicap.
Yeah, he runs his races sometimes upside down. He comes from way out of it. But at 1 1/8, sometimes he can show some speed. He showed some 2 back. That race, he lost Irish Freedom at Churchill Downs. But he did lose to Cassie Story the last time out, the 6 in here. So I think the odds will change around a little bit, but I do think Hollywood Handsome
had some trouble in that trip.
Yeah, had a little bit of trouble in that trip. It's going to end up being a little bit more in favor, but the 6 and the 5 should be a little closer.
Let's head downstairs for a paddock report. See what Maggie Wolfendale thinks of this group up close and personal. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000.
Well, Greg, when you get a grouping of these older horses that have kind of danced every dance, they tend to be a good-looking group, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. And we'll begin with your current favorite in number 2, Adulator. One of the most fit times I've seen this guy, as he does come off, once again, a little bit of a break, but he is focused because he sometimes will expend a little too much energy pre-race, but he's just nicely on the bridle, kind of tugging at his handlers, and boy, he looks absolutely superb here today as your current favorite. But number 5, Hollywood Handsome, they certainly named him correctly for trainer Dallas Stewart, and he's just a very appealing horse, has one of those great kind of thoroughbred heads on him as well, and he looks good. He is very relaxed. As Paul said, he kind of is a horse that typically likes to close a bit. He's kind of giving me the vibe that he will be doing that. We'll see what he does, though, going the 2 turns. But he is pretty relaxed here in the paddock, not indicating to me that he'll have that much early speed. But as we move on to a horse who is, in fact, a new gelding and coming off of a short kind of rest is number 7, Virtual Machine. I caught up with trainer Dave Canizzo, and he said he was so frustrated after his last race because he was expecting a much better performance than what he did, and kind of acting up and running erratically in the stretch, that he had enough. He took him back to the barn and he was gelded the next day. And while it hasn't changed much, obviously it really wouldn't because it hasn't been that much time for it to take effect. Dave's hoping that it does correct whatever bad behavior he does tend to have. Now, he does wear that extended blinker over his right eye, so you really can't see anything there, and he has that extended cage bit. So, Andy, as I throw it over to you, he is a horse that is very difficult to handle.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does, Maggie. And Dave Canizzo was talking to us earlier and said that he wants to be aggressive here and send the lead, and I think that would help him. But the question to you, Gabby, can he get over from that outside post? I'm hoping he does. I like him.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it depends on the strategy that Johnny Velasquez has on the 2 Adulator, because he has an inside post position, and I think he's a little bit naturally faster. But if you're quarter horsing this horse out of the gate, yes, he'll be on the lead.
I think he's a dangerous player. But Adulator, it's interesting with the number 2 Adulator, these connections, Centennial Farm, Jimmy Jerkins, had the exact same play earlier today, dropping a horse in first time for the tag, and that horse, Securitas, won by a city block.
Yeah, now Securitas did have a couple of wins recently. The concern with Adulator is that he has not won in a very long time, but he is getting that class relief, and I think what helps him today is the distance, so he can be forwardly placed.
See how that works out, Greg.
Call to post from Sam the Bugler is, we're going to get a look here at this field for race 7 coming up. There's Adulator just leaving our screen with John Velasquez. Big drop in class, and still the slight favorite on the board at 5-2. We're going to kick things off, though, in our post parade with General Downs. David Cohen will be aboard for Kelly Rubley.
Yeah, this one was 6-5 last time and lost to Penn. Now drops for the $50,000 tag. Does have a win over this oval and does have some back numbers that can compete.
Throughout that last race, his last 2 races competitive with this group here. Adulator the 2, Johnny V, for Jimmy Jerkins.
Good inside position, potentially the speed in this race. The question is his will to win. It's been a while.
Tab Salute, trained by Steve Asmussen, Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard.
He's a deep plotter. He would need the pace to fall apart up front.
Dallas Stewart, he sends out Hollywood Handsome, and here he drops in class as well. Luis Saez aboard.
You know, he's really a tough horse to sort of figure out, because if he runs his race, he'll be tough in here, but he seems like he's fool's gold to me.
Cassie's Story, the 6 out there somewhere. There's Cassie's Story for Mark Cassie with Jose Ortiz.
The hope, if you like this horse, is he didn't like a wet track last time, because he ran a well enough 2-back to have a chance here.
Virtual Machine, he had a wide trip almost all the way around the racetrack last start. Manny Franco aboard for David Canizzo.
Yeah, newly gelded, as Maggie was saying. So quick turnaround. I would think he's going to be sent to the lead.
And Rudy Rodriguez sends out Admiral Blue with Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
Got a very good trip last time out in the slop. Tough to have that same trip from the outside post today. A little over bet, in my opinion, at 4-1.
So that's your field. Our favorite remains Adulator for trainer Jimmy Jerkins, 5-2 on the board. Meanwhile, there's a look at Virtual Machine. Chased Flowers for Lisa.
Yeah.
Last time, that was July 27th on a sloppy racetrack. He was about 5 wide going around the turn, and his trip didn't get a whole lot better.
No, it was a bad trip. It was not good at all. And if you see, the first time for a tag in the dirt, the last 5 years, David Canizzo's got great numbers here. Now, 31 starts, 8 wins, you're getting 26%. He gelds this horse immediately right after the race. There's not a ton of early speed in here. Andy talking about, listen, they're going to go to the front in here. Could be very dangerous, especially at 5-1, getting wheeled back this quickly after being gelded only 20-some-odd days ago.
You know, it was very recent that happened. Let's take a look here at Virtual Machine in action at this point. Wide yet again. And this was kind of all the way around the racetrack.
Well, he was chasing home Flowers Elisa that day and just couldn't get the job done. He was making up ground. He was just raced by a length. Flowers Elisa has to really extend himself to beat him. So they're well clear of the third place finisher. And then after that race, obviously the next race happened where he was a little bit all over the place. So now the gelding comes along and you're getting 5-1.
So 5-1 on Virtual Machine. There he is, trying to win just for the third time in his career. Meanwhile, Adulator, big drop here in class for the Jimmy Jerkins barn, trying to get his first winner of the meet.
Yeah, listen, I get it. The one to beat. Jimmy Jerkins did this earlier, like Andy was talking, and Securities just crushed. But I do agree with Gabby saying we'll see if he's going to get in the winner's circle. It's been a long time since Drinks, 2016. And by the way, in 2016, he was running 100 buyers. He would destroy this group. So it's just so tough to tell. This race is so intriguing because who's going to reach back for that number, you know?
Now with more on Adulator, their current favorite, let's go downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Okay. Thank you, guys. And here with President of Centennial Farm, Don Little Jr. And Don, first of all, we have to congratulate you on your win earlier today with Securities.
Yes, Securities has been a great horse for us. You know, he was 6 years old and listed stakes winner and, you know, carried the flag in great shape and ran and competed in a lot of races for us. So, I mean, sad to see him go, but no, he's going to a good trainer and we'll keep an eye on him.
And same could be said here for Adulator, who you'll send out first time for 50. Are we just being realistic? And by the way, looking tremendous out on the track. What do you expect of him today?
Well, I think Jimmy's told me he's training better than he ever has. I mean, he looks sensational in the paddock, and I know there are a lot of people looking at him, and, you know, I think he'll put in a very good performance, and, you know, if all indications are there and true, I think he'll probably be in a new barn. And sort of an emotional day, but it is what it is. It's part of the game.
Certainly bittersweet, but you've been in this game quite a long time. And I must say, Don, your horses, and I know that's in part with Jimmy, but the selection process of buying young horses, they're all very good looking. Kind of talk about that.
Well, we put together a phenomenal acquisition team when we first started, when my father put the company together. Dr. Stephen Carr, who heads it up, is a world-renowned vet. Started in Aiken, South Carolina at the Aiken training track, and I actually worked with Dr. Carr my senior year in high school as a veterinary assistant, and Paula Parsons, who runs a farm in Virginia. And I think certain people have great eyes for horses, and you can't teach that, and they happen to have it. As you said, all of our horses are built to compete at the highest level, and of course they all don't all work out, but consistently we're there. And thanks to them, we've been able to put together a great record of horses that have retired to stud.
Yes, you have. It's been quite a remarkable run. You, your father, have brought along this lineage for Centennial Farm. Best of luck here, Don. Hoping the success continues today.
Great. Thank you, Maggie.
All right, Greg. We'll see if Adulator can get them their second win here.
Yeah, thank you, Maggie. I misspoke. Jimmy Jerkins obviously winning back in race 2 with Centennial Farm and Securities, who was just the winner by a mile earlier in that race. So 2-1, solid favorite here in the 7th race. We're going to send it downstairs to Andy Hollywood Handsome, another class dropper, and again has that New Orleans handicap that looms large in here. If he could repeat that effort, he'd be real tough.
Absolutely, Greg. But his last effort, he really didn't have that much trouble, and I just thought ran very poorly, and now you see the drop. Nothing would make me happier to see my friend Dallas Stewart get in the winner's circle, one of the real good guys in racing, but this drop bothers me.
I don't know if it bothers me, the drop. I guess his last race bothers me more than the drop. I think this is a logical spot for this horse, but...
That's my point. He ran poorly last time, and now he drops. That's why it bothers me.
Sure. Okay. I think I get it. But Hollywood Handsome, I don't know. You know what? The way that Luis Saez was kind of warming him up on the track, I was watching. I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually a little bit more forwardly placed today.
Yeah, he'd have to be under a drive to be close. He's usable. I used him protectively in some exactas with Virtual Machine, who I like. A horse I am not using, and I think is dramatically overbet, is the 8 Admiral Blue. It's a 6-horse field last time, and he was able to clear the lead in a modest pace. Now he's got the far outside post, better speeds in here. He's not getting the same trip, and I feel like he had his best chance to win last time out, and I'll be very surprised if he's effective here, and he looks like a big underlay to me.
No, I have to agree with you on that, because his most recent win after that was actually back at Aqueduct in February, where he was forwardly placed, and I just think with faster horses inside, that just puts him at a disadvantage.
And while he may have been helped by a wet track last time, the 6 Cassie Story may have been hurt by it in a different race, and he, like Virtual Machine, was compromised by that big speed track that Flowers Felice took advantage of, and his race 2 back gives him a chance here to price.
I actually think this is a really fair price on this horse, because it was a speed favoring track last time out. He had no hope, but like you said, his race 2 starts back was not bad. This is a logical spot for this.
We'll see what happens here, Greg, as they're loading in the gate.
Well, they were talking about the 6, Cassie Story. We're taking a look at the 4 there, but Cassie Story, he's never been good on really an off track. He caught a sloppy track July 27th, Saratoga. Just put a line through that, it seems like.
Yeah, he's got a couple of races where he's only won by a head and a neck. His only 2 wins, but one of them is here. That's the one advantage.
6-1 on the board. Favorite, though, Adulator. Jimmy Jerkins, Centennial Farms, trying to get their second win of the afternoon with the 2-horse, the Son of Flatter. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call, Larry Colmus.
Last 2 runners set to load here. Virtual Machine about to move into the starting gate. With a bit of help from the gate crew, goes in, and Admiral Blue will take up position in the outside stall to complete the line. 2-1 right now on Adulator as Admiral Blue steps forward and in. And they're all in line. They're off. General Downs broke well from the inside. There goes Virtual Machine, Admiral Blue, and Adulator's up there too. These 4 take them into that first turn with the most early foot. Hollywood Handsome is after that. Then Cassie Story, Tapsalute last, and racing about 6 lengths off of Adulator, who has made the front. Moving around that first turn, Virtual Machine up running in second, now passed by Admiral Blue on the outside. At the rail, it's General Downs, who now moves up to be in 3rd position, and then Hollywood Handsome moves 3 wide onto the backstretch. 4 lengths to Cassie Story, Tapsalute last, 24.04 that first quarter mile. It is Adulator in front. The lead is a half a length. Admiral Blue on the outside, pressing second by a length and a half to Virtual Machine, and General Downs on the inside. Hollywood Handsome is 5th, and racing 3.5 lengths from the front. Then Cassie Story begins to move up a bit. Tapsalute is last through a 48.09 half mile. Continuing up the backstretch, John Velasquez and Adulator out there in charge here by a length and a half with a half mile to go. Admiral Blue is second. General Downs is 3rd on the inside. Virtual Machine is 4th. Cassie Story is moving now. Cassie Story 5 lengths off the lead. It's going to go outside of horses, but is on the charge on the far turn. Then Hollywood Handsome and Tapsalute. It is Adulator in front. Cassie Story and Jose Ortiz continue a strong and steady wide run as they make their way to the top of the stretch. Then Admiral Blue, General Downs, and Tapsalute's getting going too. Adulator arrives at the 8th pole in front. Way on the outside, it's Cassie Story second. These 2 clear from General Downs, Tapsalute, and Admiral Blue. Cassie Story's in the center of the racetrack. Adulator's down toward the rail. General Downs is 3rd. Adulator, Cassie Story. Adulator did it. Cassie Story second, and then General Downs and Tapsalute in 149.64.
Adulator gets the job done as a 2-1 post-time favorite. Second win today for Jimmy Jerkins and Centennial Farms, this time with John Velasquez aboard.
And we saw that inside post position actually really helped this horse get to the lead, because the 2 outside horses were trying to go with him early, but he just had the advantage on them going into the first turn. And from there, this horse just got a lot of confidence on the lead. I mean, Cassie Story was out in the center of the racetrack and made a big, impressive middle move, but just couldn't get there.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same thing. Listen, when he was in left-handed and he tried to go right-handed on the 6, he just couldn't get there. And I thought it was a smart move in Adulator. That hadn't won in 2 years, Andy. put him on the front end, right? And let's see what happens.
Absolutely. And you know, the pace was honest enough. 2:24 quarters, then slightly below 24 for the third quarter. And Jose Ortiz did what he could. He had to get Cassie's Story in the game and make the run. But Adulator had too good a trip for him to overcome it. I think Cassie's Story ran very well, finishing second there. And interesting, that horse getting back to a dry track. But Centennial, 2 drop downs for Jimmy Jerkins today. Both get to the winner's circle.
Yeah, Cassie's Story made that big move, but just could not make up any ground late in the stretch there until the very, very end. But Adulator gets the job done. Your 2-1 favorite, and there again, Don Little Jr. Second win on the afternoon. 2-6-1-4 finish.
Seems excited, Jimmy, all the time when he wins, doesn't he?
Old hat to him, right?
Yeah, right. It's the same hat.
He's got more work to do. Already thinking about what is next. We're going to take a break in the action. We got a big one coming up this weekend. The premier race at the meet for 3-year-old fillies, the Grade 1 Alabama at 1.25 miles. Midnight Bijou, the one to beat. We'll talk through the field when we come back.
This successful son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast, a multiple Grade 1 winner and runner-up in the $16 million Pegasus World Cup. This year, Flatter is adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record at stud. In the auction ring, Flatter topped the 2018 Fasig-Tipton July sale with a $520,000 yearly. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter standing at Claiborne Farm.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record-setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Back on Saratoga Live, Claiborne bred son of Flatter taking the 7th race, and there is a look at Flatter, the son of AP Indy. He's produced 6 millionaires, including the silks that we have on the canoe in the infield lake here. West Coast champion 3-year-old. And the $520,000 sale topper, the Fasig-Tipton July 2018 sale as well. 10 stakes winners this year, including 3 juvenile stakes winners in the month of July alone. Adulator, son of Flatter, getting the job done here in the 7th.
Yeah, congratulations to Centennial Farms. This one bred by Claiborne. Flatter had a strong Hope mare Need. And what this one needed was a win, and Jimmy Jerkins needed the win to get off the duck. 3 for 16 lifetime.
Couple of victories for Jimmy Jerkins. Let's go downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, Greg. An adulator for Jimmy. What can you say about this horse? He does seem to get confident when he gets out on the lead like he did today.
Yeah, you know, he's been, you know, we were trying to think if we should run in this spot or try to tour to then again, but he just seemed like he was struggling to, and he was losing confidence, so we decided to freshen him up here and get him good and run him for this spot if the race went.
Jimmy, 2 wins here today. Pretty relaxed, though. Is it just a sign of relief?
Yeah, you know, it's always, we had a couple of horses ran really well, like Delta the other day, and it was unlucky not to win one. But it's always good to, you know, but at a price, both of them got claimed, so that's always, you know, it's always bittersweet when that happens. But sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and do what you got to do.
And as you alluded to, Delta Prince running huge in the 4-star Dave, a kind of inexperienced horse that really stepped up his game against a very tough Voodoo Song. Where can we expect to see him next, possibly?
Well, it looks like we'll probably head back up to Woodbine for the Woodbine Mile, or whatever it's called these days. I don't know. But, you know, it looked like he came out of that race good. You know, he took a couple of bad bobbles there in the stretch, but it was, you know, the course was really, really, really soft, and he was really struggling with it. But and that final little bump he got right inside the 16th pole, I think, cost him the race. But, you know, that's what you got to do to try to win. But it really knocked him off stride a little bit. I thought it made a difference.
Well, Jimmy does look like a promising horse, and congrats on both your wins here today.
Thanks a lot, Meg.
All right, Greg, it turns out that Adulator, Hollywood Handsome, and Cassie Story will all be going back to new barns here this afternoon.
Claim box busy for this race, and get some old veterans if you happen to pick one of these horses up. And yet, Delta Prince, we gave so much love to Voodoo Song for that win in the 4-star Day, but Delta Prince in defeat running second ran very good for Jimmy Jerkins.
Yeah, Jimmy's been a little unlucky. I've been saying off the duck. He's already off the duck. He got 2 today, so he's really off. And he can get hot as can be, but yeah, a little unlucky with Delta Prince and Adulator. You know, I don't know. I understand he was $6, but I don't know if a lot of people single this horse. I think he's going to play a little bit bigger than that. And if you had Super Fast and Pink Sands, I still think you're okay.
I'd love to be alive.
I would too.
$133,000 in this pool. By the way, Robertino Diodoro picking up Adulator. So moving from the Jerkins barn to Diodoro's. Our feature race, it is coming up next, and there is Altea for the meet's leading trainer, Chad Brown. Graded stake after graded stake in her 4 starts here in the U.S. She is yet to get to the winner's circle since she has come here from overseas in France. She has shown, though, she has tons of talent. Can she get it done today in the class drop here? This 8th race, 1 mile on the inner turf for 3-year-old fillies.
Yeah, it's a good group, right? But she is the class. She's coming out of a grade 3 Lake George, the Edgewood, the Florida Oak. She's losing to horses that are probably would be a smaller price than her, obviously, with Daddy's the Legend, Aldina, Del Sur, and La Senora. She's been running against better fillies, Twinette as well. And now she's got to beat these other ones. They put blinkers on her last time, and it almost got the job done. She probably should beat this field today. But, again, there's a horse in here called Cool Beans that will probably be in front for a long time.
Yeah, that's going to be the pace setter, the 9 filly in this spot. But Altea looks like she's going to be awfully tough in this spot. Of course, coming up on Saturday, 1.25 miles for 3-year-old fillies. This is a look at the field that will line up. No Monomoy Girl. She won the Coaching Club American Oaks. She is off to the Cotillion likely at Park, so that opens things up for the rest of this division in here. In Midnight Bijou, Mike Smith coming back to town, 7-5 morning line favorite. Let's go through the field. We'll start off with Pieri Bianchi. Used to be with Doug O'Neill, now in the Todd Pletcher barn.
Yeah, some of my good buddies here, the Nice Guys stables. You know what? I have a feeling this horse is going to run big. This is a horse now in the Pletcher barn, coming in with good works. She's a smallish filly, and I think that she'll actually like the turns, the tighter turns here at Saratoga. I think she's my long shot play.
Eskimo Kisses, meanwhile, sent out by Kenny McPeak, and she's got to be awfully glad to get away from Monomoy Girl, who has beat her each of the last 3 starts.
She got a superb ride when she finished 4th, narrowly beaten by Midnight Bijou in the Kentucky Oaks. Her race in the CCA Oaks last time was dismal. It really wasn't a good effort. But to be fair, she was off a 2.5-month layoff. This is the day for her to put up or shut up.
Midnight Bijou, she was sensational, winning the Grade 2 Mother Goose at Belmont. She wound up runner-up to Monomoy Girl in the Coaching Club American Oaks.
Yeah, I think another one that is very happy that Monomoy Girl has rerouted to the Cotillion and Wonder Godot going to the Travers, but she will be the horse to beat come Saturday.
Steve Asmussen barn will send out She's a Julie. She comes in off back-to-back wins, including the Grade 3 Iowa Oaks at Prairie Meadows.
Yeah, she's coming in very good form. She always runs a very, very good race. 3 for 8 lifetime, a filly by Elusive Quality. Now, she's going to have to step it up a little bit to beat these ones at 9-2, but like we said, she's in sharp form.
We ready to see a new face step up in this division. Auspicious Babe, sent out by Dallas Stewart, put together back-to-back wins at Churchill. It's a huge class test.
If you like Auspicious Babe in the Alabama and you're not a member of Naira Bets, you need to sign up right now so you can be eligible to be the only winner of the Naira Bets Late Pick 5 on Saturday, because you'll probably take home the whole pool if this long shot gets it done.
Figuerella's Queen, another big price in here. She's sent out by Brad Cox. She was second to Tunk Vuv to me in the Indiana Oaks.
And she's got 3 lifetime victories out of 7 starts on multiple surfaces. Definitely a versatile filly, but she was well defeated by Tunk Vuv to me. Tough to see how she'll turn the tables.
Dale Romans, he'll send out Coach Rock. She was a winner of the Gulfstream Park Oaks, and he believes she is sitting on a big, big race.
Well, Dale Romans thinks every horse that he has is sitting on a big race. And second in the Delaware Oaks, she has turned around her career ever since she broke her mane. She won the Gulfstream Park Oaks. But let's be honest, she got beat by Red Ruby by 13 lengths last time. She needs to step it up a little bit.
And Tunk Vuv to me for Rudolph Brissett. Julian Leperoux will be aboard, winner of the Grade 3 Indiana Oaks last start. She brings some speed to the party.
I think she may be the most talented filly in this race. Now, obviously, a 1.25 miles is a major test for her, and she has, coming out of an Indiana Oaks where she met a much weaker field. But she also survived what was an extremely fast pace that day and ran very, very well to win. Just because she faced weaker horses does not mean she did not run well. If she can get the 1.25 miles, I think she's our Alabama winner.
Yeah, we could definitely see that. I mean, she does look like the controlling speed, at least. She's naturally very fast, so she could easily clear the field from the outside.
And with her outside post with a long run to the first turn, it's not the same as these 1 1/8 races, and Julian Leperoux has struggled to me. He had just his second winner today, but that'll all be forgotten if he wins the Alabama. And Tunk Vuv, for me, the distance a big question here, but she's very, very good.
And I love the spacing between her races, and I love the way that Rudolph Brissett, her trainer, has slowly given her this progression of distances. But last time out was her first time actually going 2 turns.
And they took a real gamble because she could have won the test. Not that it would have been easy, but they've tried to take a shot in the Alabama. They must be confident she likes the distance. We'll see.
You know, everyone in this field, 1.25 miles is a big question mark at this spot here. Midnight Bijou, when she won the Mother Goose, we saw that performance. We had it on our show back at Belmont. We thought, wow, she is really going to make Monomoy Girl work. It was going to be the big showdown opening weekend of the meet here in that race. Monomoy Girl just turned out to be too good. But how big a standout is she to you in this race on the weekend?
Well, she's a big standout because she was able to, you know, come at least give a little challenge to Monomoy Girl. Monomoy Girl sticks out so much in here. And then you go back to her Kentucky Oaks effort. And then you wonder, okay, was she second or third best in there? She's still just not as good as Monomoy Girl. But till these other girls and fillies start stepping up their game, they're not close enough. She has tactical speed. She's got the Hall of Famer on her back, too, and that helps. And his record, along with some other people, but his record coming in here to Saratoga, Mike Smith, we talk about Baffert all the time. It's got to be over 60%.
When Mike Smith
it's
comes to Saratoga, it is unreal. New York in general, but especially here, it's incredible what he has done. Bankroll Builder, take advantage. Bet $50 to win on the Alabama, and you're going to get $20 for Travers Day, regardless if your pick wins or not. How about that? So be sure to get your $50 win bet in for the Alabama to get your account loaded up for Travers Day. It's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, Travers Day, August 25th, and we're going to see a member of that 3-year-old filly division, Wonder Gadot, take it on the boys in that race. Altia, there she is for Chad Brown. Can she finally break through, get into the winner's circle for the first time in her 3-year-old campaign and the first time in the States? We're going to find out. Irad Ortiz Jr. back on board today. She chased a really good one. Daddy is a legend in that Lake George. Daddy is a legend certainly got the better trip that day.
Yeah, she did. I mean, Altia's had a couple bad trips. 3 back, she lost to Twinette. Twinette's going to be in the Del Mar Oaks. Second is Rushing Fall. Daddy is a Legend was third, and she only lost to those 3 fillies by a length and 3/4. Those 3 fillies would all be 3 to 5 in this group. So to me, the 7 to 6 to 5, I get it. She might have a tiny bit of a hang in her. She's 1 for 9, but I'm starting to look at the company more and more and think, wow, she's going to be tough in here.
Well, she made the lead at 1 mile and 16. I know race dynamics different in every kind of race.
Yeah,
but
true.
She made the lead at 1 mile and 16th, shortens up to 1 mile today. She has the blinkers on for the second time. Maybe time just right this afternoon. Our feature race coming up on Saratoga Live. You are watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and other regional networks across the country. Great to have you with us on this Thursday afternoon. Our feature race is coming up. It is presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We just had a Claiborne son of Flatter getting the job done back in race number 7. That was Adulator. Coming up in this feature race, there is the meet's leading trainer. That is Chad Brown, our reigning Eclipse Award-winning trainer as well. Saddling up Altia. We've talked a lot on this show about all the good company she has kept. Just about everyone who's beat her here in the States would be a heavy odds-on favorite if they were lined up in this spot. Today appears to be the day.
Yeah, it does. And you joined us at a perfect time because this is a really good group of fillies on the turf. And, yeah, she is the one to beat. She's been facing very, very good fillies, stakes-type fillies that are just moving forward. And I think that Chad always thought that she was. She ran very well in the Lake George when they added blinkers last time, took the lead in deep stretch, but she just got passed by a little better filly, and Daddy is a Legend. Daddy is a Legend would be 3 to 5 to 4 to 5 in here. So if you like to play some favorites, they're going to pay like $4.10, $4 maybe at even money. Maybe Altia is your choice here.
Well, we talk about all the good ones Altia has faced. Cool Beans, the 9, has had the lead against some good ones. Toinette would win the Grade 3 Edgewood. La Signari won the Grade 3 Wonder again. She tried to take those fillies gate to wire, and she has just imposing speed in this race. She might be very dangerous to try and catch on the inner turf.
She's going to be the one to catch by far. The one knock on her, she's never crossed the line first. She has finished second and third in all of her starts. She got put up via disqualification to win one race, so she has never actually beaten a field to a wire. So she's facing horses here that have some are one-time winners, some are multiple winners, like the 6 in here. So I think the task is a little tougher, but she is the filly to catch.
We're going to check in downstairs by the paddock now with the rest of our crew, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling and Gabby Gaudet.
Thank you, Greg. Well, obviously, Altia is the horse to beat, and you guys covered it, and we're not going to say anything more because it's pretty obvious. I'm very interested in the 10, Sister Sunday, a horse for Christophe Clement. In her second career start, she ran a very fast race at Tampa Bay and beat a horse named Mighty Scarlet for trainer Chad Brown, who went on to break her maiden impressively at Keeneland the next start and then finished third in a stake race at Belmont before trying the Grade 1 Belmont Oaks. Last time out, she went back to Gulfstream, where she just had an absolute nightmare trip. And watching the race, it's hard to believe she finished third, considering the trip she had behind a wire-to-wire winner. She's got to overcome the outside post and get it done in a tough field, but at 8 to 1, I'm playing.
Yeah, the pace definitely held in her last race, and she just had no room to run whatsoever. So a troubled trip against Stakes Company, but you say she does have that outside post, which usually can be a disadvantage, but we've actually seen outside post positions on the inner turf be just fine.
No, I agree. And the turf is drying out a bit, and it's getting closer to firm, so we'll see how it plays out. You're very interested, Gabby, in the 3, Katie Cruel. A bit of a guess for trainer Graham Motion, who has exceptional numbers with his European shippers.
Definitely an unknown. Won last time out in Ireland, but has been training forwardly down at Fair Hill, where most of Graham Motion horses are trained. Would you say that she is live at 5 to 1, considering that the 7 is 6 to 5?
She is. It's very early, but I agree she is taking money, but maybe a lot of people are thinking the way you think. Not, by the way, that's been bad thinking. I know Maggie is interested in the 3, Katie Cruel, as we head out to her. That's Maggie Wolfendale for the Paddock Report, brought to you by Hillendale.
Thanks, Andy. And as Gabby said, I think the key word here with Katie Cruel is forwardly, in which Cool Beans, she is a speed on paper, but I would not be surprised that with a more inside post, if Katie Cruel isn't giving her a run for her money, or at least right behind her, as she is actually stretching out from 6 furlongs to the mile here for her stateside debut, and she is sharp. She is on the muscles. She's been throwing her head around. She is a bundle of energy thus far. She looks fantastic as far as kind of weight, coat, and fitness level, but I'm just a little concerned that sometimes when you have these horses coming back off layoffs when they're too fresh, we'll see if it plays into her favor or not. Next, we'll move on to some horses that are big prices, and one trying the turf for the first time is number 2, Hale, a daughter of Tappet. Not many to try the turf on the dam side, so it's not like it's a screaming pedigree, but watching this gal's work 2 back on the turf course, she actually worked with Capla Temptress, who is a Grade 1 winner on the turf and is entered in the Grade 2 Lake Placid coming up here, and she started off behind her workmate and worked easily up to her. So in regards to watching her stride on the turf, it looked as though she handled it, and physically here, I don't see why she she can't handle it, though, this is an awfully tough spot to try it for the first time. And then we'll take a look at number 6 in here, Quivery, who I'm also very interested in. Now, 3 back, she worked 47-4. Now, granted, that was on the rail, so the dogs weren't up, so it's going to be naturally a fast work, but she definitely didn't look like she was going 47-4. It's a very impressive workout. She comes back in here, she looks extremely fit to me for Bobby Robato, and while she is nicely on the bridle, not as if she's expending too much energy. I like what I'm seeing from Quivery, who, as Paul said, is a 2-time winner, and I always think that counts for something in these A other thans. And number 10 is Sister Sunday. I definitely agree with Andy in that last time she had some trouble, but watching her races, she seems as if she is one that just keeps coming, keeps staying on. So the turn back to a mile concerns me a little bit, given the fact, too, that she's a big, rangy type. I had written in my notes that maybe the longer the better for her, and it's kind of compounded by what I see here in the paddock. I like her. I just don't know if a mile is going to be to her liking, Greg.
Well, we will find out. Christophe Clement trains that one 9-1 on the board. She beat Mighty Scarlet. Couple starts back easily at Tampa. Would come back and win by 4 on the turf next time out at Keeneland, and then was third in a grade 3 wonder again. Our feature race is coming up next. Stay tuned.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
This 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and horse of the year Up with the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Now the excitement is building as his first foals have arrived this year. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus, standing at Claiborne Farm.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired, New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Back on Saratoga Live in our post-parade coming up for our feature race, and it is a good one. A mile on the inner turf, 3-year-old fillies, and here's one of a pair for Chad Brown. This is data-dependent Javier Castellano aboard.
Yeah, the lone winner, the maiden special weight win, and she's just checked a couple minor checks. So for a Chad Brown horse, you would think she would progress by now.
First time on the turf for Hale. Out of a damn rising tornado, actually one going long in the grass.
Well, 18-1 is tempting for any Bill Mott runner, but she's trying the turf for the first time. Has a tremendous pedigree, however.
Katie Krul for Graham Motion, her state's debut and stretching out.
Well, you got to think she has to have some quality. She beat a 20-horse field and was second in a 15-horse field, and she's getting bet like it.
Emmy Performance, 14-1, trained by Brian Lynch. Luis Saez aboard.
This 3-year-old filly is actually kin to Oscar-nominated and Oscar Performance, both graded stakes winners on the turf. I like the cutback for her.
Quivery. She got beat by maybe the best 3-year-old turf filly on the planet in Lawrence last time. It was a 3-time Group 1 winner.
A new shooter for sure, but she's going to have to prove herself against a tough company here today off of that October layoff.
Altea dropping in class for Chad Brown without question, the filly to beat.
Yeah, she is. She stuck the blinkers on and she improved a little bit more. She runs that same race. I feel like she's going to be tough to beat.
Shug McGahee has Manny Franco aboard. Subtle Step comes in from Churchill Downs.
She definitely has had some excuses in some of her performances, but really would have to step up to win here.
And the one to catch, Cool Beans, trained by Brad Cox, Florent Giroux in the irons.
I get it. She's dangerous, very dangerous. But, again, she still has not crossed the winner's circle, or at least the wire first, 4-1.
And Christophe Clement trains Sisters Sunday. Julian Leperoux aboard.
This filly seems to definitely be on her toes here today and comes out of a troubled trip last time out against Stakes Company.
You can play this race in all the races we show you all summer long here at Saratoga by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Go to NairaBets.com. You get a $200 new member sign-up bonus now. If you use the promo code Saratoga Live, you can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app, or again, go to NairaBets.com to get signed up and started. Well, Quivery faced some real good company back as a 2-year-old filly across the pond. With more, let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, Greg. And she's a 2-time winner as I'm here with her now conditioner, Bob Robato. Quivery, Bob, she is the 2-time winner. She looked as though she possessed some talent in her first couple races. Talk about how she's trained since coming here.
So we're glad to have her. We're glad that she's back home because actually she's American bred, even though she's raced in Europe. So she's trained great, and we didn't know what to expect. Different style of training, naturally. She adapted right away, and again, that's because she was actually broke here as a yearling in turn 2. So she's done everything right. You know, if we had a little bit more knowledge of the horses she ran against over there and the type of races she was in, we'd have a little more confidence because she couldn't be doing any better. The fact that she's fit as a fiddle, I don't think she's going to need a race today. Right. So I think what we see is what we got. And, you know, I expect a good race out of her. I could have tried to pick an easier spot than this, but it didn't work out. But we're really happy with her.
Yeah, it's definitely a war out there, that's for sure. But do you feel as though in these types of races, having won more than one race, which is more than any other horse in here, does that put you at an advantage as well? You
know, it's definitely an advantage. You know, it's like anything else. Sometimes you get horses in a one other end that might have been put up in their maiden race, and they never won a race. You know, so that's a disadvantage. So here we got the opposite effect. We've got 2 wins with this filly, and it's got to help her a little bit experience-wise. So, you know, again, you know, we'll know a lot more after the race, but we're pretty pleased with the way she's doing.
Yeah, I've watched some of her work. She looks very good out there. Bob, best of luck with Quivery here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll see if the stateside debuts are winning on here, Greg.
Well, the company she has kept overseas, just top-notch. She was 4th, beat just 2 lengths in a Group 3, and a filly named Billisdown Brook won that race. She was 66-1 in that spot, but she's been competitive. She was a Group 3 winner before that. And, of course, last time out, mentioned that she was beat by Lawrence, who might be the best, again, 3-year-old turf filly in the country. She's a 3-time Group 1 winner. She's already won $1.5 million in 7 career starts.
Pretty good, right?
How about that?
Yeah, good competition. And, listen, the thing you have is her 3 races were on straightaway races, right? And then a right-hand race. So she's only run 1 time. She's never gone left-handed. So that could be, I don't know, that'd be a question we'd ask Maggie, but the 6 has never gone left-handed straightaways and only right-handed turns.
Meanwhile, Altea, there she is, 7-5 for the meet's leading trainer, Chad Brown, and she chased Daddy Is a Legend. Andy, she had that wider trip. Daddy Is a Legend got to go to the fence, and she dueled with her for a bit. Daddy Is a Legend would pull away late, but she obviously has quality.
Oh, she does. I mean, listen, look at who she's facing. La Signari, significant form, Toinette, Rushing Falls, Adina Del Sur. She's just getting gigantic class relief. And I don't think she ran the better race than Daddy's a Legend, Gabby, but it was close.
And, well, Daddy's is a Legend is a pretty darn good horse. So, yeah, she definitely has the class advantage here. That is not the question. But I do feel that sometimes she needs everything to go her way to win.
Well, you're saying that, but you're talking about a horse who's been running against so much tougher horses that maybe she's getting everything to go her way today because there are no graded stake winners in this
No,
field.
I hear
Doesn't
that
mean
side
she's
of
not
it,
going to
yeah.
win, and deep closers can get in trouble, et cetera, but this is gigantic class relief, and sometimes, I mean, we saw it yesterday with a horse, Avery Maeve, that never wins, but she got the class relief and just proved to be the best horse.
It's always good to play devil's advocate with a 7-5 shot, though, sometimes.
Well, you know,
in a race this strong. This
Listen,
is a strong
I picked
race.
the 10 horse. I think you have to be careful. You don't just want to pick against favorites because they're favored. This is a legitimate 6-5 favorite in this race, at least in my opinion.
I think the public agrees. I actually thought this horse would be a shorter price than this.
So did I. So did I. I thought there's a couple horses in here that are shorter than I thought. I didn't think the 9. I thought the 9 would be up a little bit higher. I get it, the 9's lone speed, but the horse hasn't crossed the wire first. The 2 Hale should not be 19-1. There's turf pedigree in that family. Bill Mott had a great meet, and you got Rosario aboard. I'm not saying that she can win the race.
All 5 siblings have won as well.
Yeah, on all 5 siblings. So there's a lot of money going to the 3, Katie Cruel and Cool Beans. So a lot of stuff going on here. The 10's also taking money, too, and has got a big shot.
I don't want to not... If somebody wants to bet Hale at 20-1, they should bet her. But she's bred to be a dirt horse. She's a half to Close Hatches, who was a $2 million earner. She's a half to Lockdown. It's a huge dirt family. The second dam is Honest Lady, and Honest Lady was second in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. She was a wonderful racehorse for Judd Mott and Bobby Frankel, and she has produced turf horses. But this horse is cut out to be a dirt horse, and in my opinion, after a disappointing return, Bill Mott has just taken a shot here. Listen, you bet 21 shots, that's fine, but they're taking a shot with this horse.
There's a reason why this move is happening after her last race.
Right.
It was very disappointing, and they're trying to maybe find some of that talent that they haven't been able to unearth yet.
But she'd really have to improve it. She's not bred to improve in the turf. She's bred to handle it as we head out to Maggie.
Thanks, Andy. I want to talk about the likely speed horse in here, and that is Cool Beans. And you heard Bob Robato state it. She's actually never won a race, and so that almost puts her at a disadvantage. Her one race that she technically won, she was put up when significant form, well, just kind of wiped out most of the field in her first start. And Cool Beans, you know, she's starting to have the look of a bridesmaid, a horse that likes to run second, says, okay, you go ahead, you pass me, I'm fine with running second here. She has gotten much more on her toes since getting out to the racetrack beneath Florent Giroux, so that's a good sign for a likely speed horse. But I just can't necessarily take a horse at a short-ish price that has never won a race here, Greg.
Well, that's the scenario here. Yeah, betting-wise. I want to ask you before you go, Maggie, back to the 6 here for a moment with Quivery. 13-1. We heard from trainer Bobby Robato. What about going left-handed turns here for the first time?
Well, you know, I've watched her works, Greg, and she handles it so well. I mean, she was glued to the rail over at the Oklahoma turf course, which is tighter turns than she's going to experience here. So I don't foresee it being that much of a problem for her. And as Bob said, she was broke here. So she does have experience, at least training, throughout her lifespan of going left.
14-1 on Quivery. It's going to be her state's debut coming up for Bobby Robato. John Velasquez will be aboard, but it's 6-5 favoritism. On the 7, Altia, dropping out of graded stakes for the first time of her 3-year-old campaign and the first time since she has been in the U.S. Will that make the difference? We're about to find out. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call, Larry Colmus.
Last couple of runners coming up now as Cool Bean steps up to the starting gate. Here comes Emmy Performance into line, and they'll be followed by Sister Sunday, who will come up to the outside stall and complete the line here. 6-5 on Altia, and they're all in line. Getting riled about there is Katie Cruel. Quivery also a bit restless. They're off. And there goes Cool Beans up to grab the lead. Sister Sunday and Katie Krul are right behind, and Emmy Performance came out running in fourth behind them. And then it's Subtle Step on the outside, who's 3 wide into that turn. So up top, it's going to be Cool Beans to cross over and clear here and open up the lead by 1.5 lengths. Katie Krul is running in second. On the outside, Sister Sunday is third. And then comes Hale in fourth. Emmy Performance wide on that turn outside of Subtle Step. And Altia's on the inside, 6.5 lengths off the lead. Then Data Dependent and Quivery, 24.17 was the first quarter up the backstretch. Cool Beans up top. Cool Beans and Florent Giroux the lead by 2. Katie Krul tracks in second. And then it's Sister Sunday third on the outside, followed by Hale in fourth. She's got 4 lengths to make up, just ahead of Emmy Performance on the outside, then Subtle Step. Altia's going to save ground on both turns here, 5.5 from the front as they make their way into that far turn. And then Data Dependent and Quivery, 48.57 was the half mile. Around the far turn, it is still Cool Beans on top. Here comes Katie Krul on the outside, ranging up alongside Sister Sunday is third. Hale is fourth. Altia is right behind her, needs a place to go. They're into the stretch, and it is Cool Beans holding on to this lead. Katie Krul, here's Sister Sunday on the outside. Altia's got work to do. Data Dependent's finishing well on the far outside. Still Cool Beans to catch. Data Dependent, Altia, and Sister Sunday, they're coming down to the line, and Cool Beans is going to go all the way and win it. Cool Beans won it by 1 length over Data Dependent, and then it was Altia and Sister Sunday in 1:36.51.
Cool Beans taking them all the way gate to wire, and that is the first time in her career she has crossed the wire first.
Well, it definitely came in time here up at Saratoga. This was a hats-off ride by Florent Giroux, just utilizing this filly's natural early speed, taking the field wire to wire. We saw the 3 take position just behind her, the 10 in good position. We did see the 1 and Altia, Data Dependent, and the 7 Altia actually make up a little bit of ground late, but the pace was too slow for them.
Right. Obviously, the third quarter posted of 1:15.21 is inaccurate. They didn't go at 27 or 26 chain quarter and come home in 21 seconds. This horse got the front, and both of the races we've seen, distance races on the inner turf so far today, have been 1 wire to wire. So perhaps that's helping these horses. But you know what? Altia is just a horse that doesn't get it done because she even got outclosed by Data Dependent, who looks inferior on paper. This horse able to get it done. Best horse gets the wire.
Yeah, and, you know, great job by Flo. I mean, even if that quarter is wrong, he was able to back it down. I thought he kept a steady rhythm with her. And then when he asked, she exploded. And, like Andy said, the 7 just really has a slow grind. I think she wants to go long, or maybe she's not that good. But Data Dependent ran giant because nobody was moving, and she sort of circled around everybody. But you can't take it away from the winner here, Cool Beans.
Florent Giroux, the jockey aboard you were talking about here, well-timed. Got that opening quarter in 24, 48-2 for the half, and able to hold off all comers here late in the race to steal this thing on the front end here at 7-2. And an even money favorite defeated in the Naira Betts late pick 5.
Yeah, and that's going to enhance the Naira Betts late pick 5 because Altia, I think, was singled a lot in a lot of tickets. Pink Sands was not. Chamber, the first-time starter for Chad Brown, who lost earlier. So if you're having this, you got one more race to get through.
Brad Cox, Florent Giroux, team up for Magic Cap Stables. Gate to wire win. 3-year-old filly by Candy Ride gets the money here in our 8th race. Our nightcap still coming up. Stay tuned.
Bayern turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back there in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Betts.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Betts app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
The dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, Cool Beans. Cool customer on the front end here in our feature race. As you see Florent Giroux hop off the winner. Their daughter, a Candy Ride, gets the win for the Brad Cox Barn and Magic Cap Stable.
Yeah, something I've never been able to say as an athlete. Speed kills. And that's what happened here with Cool Beans. Just ran them off their feet. This is a filly by Candy Ride, the Giants Causeway mare. Win McCool, now 2 for 6 lifetime.
You win the race, you get to talk to Maggie Wolfendale. Let's go downstairs.
Yeah, lucky Florent here as a winner and a nice ride here on Cool Beans at Flo, and you just dominated out in the front end on this inner turf course, which seems to be getting kind to early speed.
Yes, definitely. Today there was already a runaway winner. He went wire to wire, and my filly had great tactical speed, and in the race didn't seem there was much speed in the race, so I just wanted to make sure she brake clean and alertly, and from there I just didn't hesitate to take the lead and try to take the race, by your hands.
And now, as you said, a filly that beat her last time, Colonia, entered in the Del Mar Oaks tomorrow. But going in here, Cool Beans had never won a race, technically. Was there any trepidation here?
I know, that's the only bittersweet with her all the time. She goes on lead and looks like she's going to win every single time, and she always, somebody run her down, She got beat by some very nice filly, and lately, some very nice filly, actually. Colonia is ranked more in Del Mar Oaks, and last year was a significant form, who's one of the Chas Brown best fillies, and some of the one also at Kiln, Toinette, end up winning, the Hedgewood Derby Day. So no, all the time there is something good, but I'm glad she was able to get the job done today.
She was certainly due. Congratulations here with Cool Beans.
Thank you.
All right, guys, Flo with a cool ride on the front end with Cool Beans.
He's had a good couple of summers here at Saratoga.
Yeah.
Regular rider, of course, for Gun Runner, who was sensational last year here at Saratoga. And, of course, Monomoy Girl in the Coaching Club American Oaks, who appears to be the best 3-year-old filly in the land.
I think he's been working with Junior Alvarado. Still, maybe the best tweet of the whole Saratoga meet. You got to go to Junior Alvarado's feed, and he shows Florent Giroux how to do curls so that his horse can be strong in the stretch. It's one of the funniest videos you've ever seen. It's absolutely great. And there you see the late pick 5 follow along. Pretty good pool, 133,000. Adulator, like I said, I get it, your favorite, but I don't think a lot of people singled that horse, and I don't think a lot of people singled Cool Beans. So you're waiting a pretty good payoff if you're alive.
The NyraBets late pick 5. It is fantastic, tremendous value. We got one leg left to go. 5.5 furlongs. On the turf, New York breds, maiden special weight, and Mike's Girl went against Dreineken, who we saw run in the Bolton Landing yesterday. She ran 5th in a 6-horse field for Chad Brown.
Yeah, she struggled, and I liked her a little bit, and she did not run that well. We've talked about this before, Andy and I. Listen, Steve Aspen is very, very good second time out, but he's so much better on dirt than he is on turf. I'm going to fall for it again and go for the 7, but I don't know about 2-1. This is a tough little group.
Well, we got a big race coming up this weekend on the turf. We just saw some turf fillies who faced the filly we're about to talk about in here. We talked about Daddy is a Legend. 4-1 morning line. Manny Franco will get the call on Saturday for trainer George Weaver. Of course, Rushing Fall will be the one to beat in this spot. Our Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf winner would go on to win the Appalachian as well, but get narrowly defeated in the Edgewood last time out. Daddy is a Legend. Went against Altea in the Lake George here on opening day at the meet. She ducked down to the inside and got the win by 2 lengths as she pulled away from that filly in the stretch.
Yeah, I don't think you take any away from what we just saw Altea run. Daddy's a Legend's got this big, long stride. You can see at the end of that race, her ears really were moving forward, asking the rider basically for a command to do a little bit more. So I think she's got more in the tank.
Meanwhile, Rushing Fall, she has been absolutely sensational in every single start. Somehow she just got nailed at the wire last time out. That was in the Edgewood. That was the first defeat of her career when she was second, beat a neck to Toinette.
I mean, this was an absolute ding-dong battle all the way down to the wire. And this is it did deserve to be a loser in here because Rushing Fall was on the inside. You put a filly on the inside, Toinette with all that kind of quality as well. And they just really duked it out all the way to the end. So just the other filly got the better of her, as you see. Toinette just come flying home. She won the battle, but she just didn't win the war at the end, you know?
Even though she just got nailed by neck last time. Yeah. Still the class of the division at this point?
I would think so. She's going to be tough to handle. Again, she's got a lot of grit. And then she didn't get to see Toinette on the outside of her. She was battling with that horse. She was worried about that horse next to her.
That is coming up this weekend. Lake Placid should be sensational and see who separates himself. But Chad Brown still has a lot of big bullets to fire in the holster coming up. Meanwhile, Pacific Classic out on the West Coast. Their big one coming up on Saturday. And Accelerate, 8-5 in the morning line.
Yeah, and obviously the one to beat. Obviously him and Pavel, they're the 2 best horses in California. It's not even close. Accelerate continues to get better. This was him in the Gold Cup on the 26th of May. Victor Espinoza with that wicked right hand is just going to get him home. And listen, he keeps getting better. And Dr. Dorr, we found out how good he really is. He's not much, and he's going to have to beat one horse in here. It's a 2-horse race.
111 buyer for that victory right there for Accelerate. Meanwhile, for Pavel, huge effort in the Stephen Foster, where he proved he is a major player in this older horse division.
Yeah, he made the sweeping move in the Foster. 101 buyer now. Who did he beat? He beat Honorable Duty. But, again, this is the kind of horse that took on the Jim Dandy and Good Samaritan and Always Dreaming and all of them in his second career start and was right with these horses to the top of the lane. Is he really turning the corner at age 4? Paul Redham is not afraid of any kind of challenge. So you'll see him on Pacific Classic Day.
Went off at 6-1 in the Stephen Foster. You're not going to get those odds in the Pacific Classic. It's the highlight, the Del Mar Meet, and Ira Bet's giving you your money back if your bet finishes second. Bet $20 to win on one horse in the Pacific Classic on the Naira Bets app, and you'll get $20 back if your horse finishes second. Download the Naira Bets app on the App Store or on NairaBets.com to get all set for Pacific Classic Day. We're going to take a break in the action. Nightcap still to come, and we return to load the break from the gate. It all seems so effortless. We'll introduce you to the persons whose job it is to ensure a smooth and efficient load and all that goes into it. That's when we come back on Saratoga Live. Stay tuned.
Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warfront. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 mile at Keeneland, then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. His runners include stakes winner Saratoga, along with a growing list of talented young runners. At public auction, his yearlings have sold up to $200,000. Data Link, standing at Claiborne Park.
I am Michael Pup McMullen, and I am a starter. I'll be the role of the starter, make sure that everybody gets a fair start in the afternoon. The morning is where it all starts. It's basically where you get a line on the horses, what their quirks may be or may not be. I can get a read on them. Some are fine, not even an issue, and then you get to see, like, the one that was here before is the first time it was in the mall. And he got approved out of town, so yeah, he was a little uptight in there, so we'll know tomorrow to keep an eye on him, have somebody in there with him. My favorite part of the job is in the mornings, and either getting a horse through all his things that he needs to get okayed or dealing with problem horses is probably my favorite thing to do. Hopefully whatever's happening in the morning carries over into the afternoon. I fell into being an assistant starter, right place, right time. They needed help. So I said, oh, sure, I'll give it a shot. I was lucky enough to have American Pharoah in the Belmont when he was able to hit the Triple Crown. And
they're off in the Belmont Stakes.
I don't really get nervous anymore. I've got a solid crew of guys that have been doing it. They've all experienced it, and you know, I'll be relying heavily on them. You always feel like you're learning. It's always challenging. It's always exciting. I don't really give any cues, so to speak. Once that last horse comes in, everybody knows it's time to go. And once that outside man gets set up, he'll say, you got him, or something similar to that. And basically, if nothing else is happening, that's when it's coming.
Oh, so much respect for what this starting gate crew does. And Mike Pup McMullen, the head of that crew, they suffer bruised knuckles, broken bones, getting kicked. It's a real tough job, and they ensure that everything goes smoothly.
Well, they work with the horses in the morning. I actually know a couple of guys that are on the starting gate, one of them being Nicky Casado, and he works actually with Javier Castellano. That's his jockey. I think a lot of people don't realize some of the starters work with the jockeys, know his tendencies. I've talked to him before, and he goes, I know what Javier wants. I know exactly what he wants with his horses. Sometimes he'll tell me to back off a little bit. So the starters also work with the jockeys, too, to make sure their horses are settled down so that, you know, they can get out of the gate and there's no trouble. So there's a lot more into it, not only in the morning and in the afternoon. Yeah,
and all these troublemakers in terms of the horses, they know their tendencies before they even come onto the racetrack. They've been well aware of them from the morning workouts and things like that. A lot goes into what they do. They are absolutely appreciated, the unsung heroes of the racetrack. We still have our nightcap coming up here. We're about approaching the 15-minute mark to post 5.5 furlongs on the turf as we look at the field and current odds. And right now, it is Mike's Girl for trainer Steve Asmussen. Ricardo Santana Jr. Midwest Thoroughbreds are 2-1 favorite, who also face Dreineken back on July 20th on opening day here at Saratoga. So has experience under her belt.
Shows some speed. She just backed out of it. And it's second start for Asmussen. His horses are usually better. Turf sprints, he's about 16%. He got off to just a blazing start. Now, he's cooled down a little bit. And again, we talked about this is a daughter of Scat Day. She should handle the turf like she did the first time. But is she going to improve enough to beat some of these other horses that are going to be trying it for the first time?
And we heard from Stephen Christ a little bit earlier on in the show. And he said it's been a long time since I've been nervous at the racetrack. He's got a horse that he owns part of coming up here in this finale on the card, Mineshaft Blues. There she is. Daughter of Mineshaft out of a Rocky mare. So there is turf pedigree there. This will be the debut effort from that outside post.
Yeah, great interview. If you missed, you can go to the Naira Now app and check it out. Andy certainly got a chance to interview the great Steve Chris, and you could tell he's worried. And I try to tell people a lot of times, I could hit in front of 25,000 people, be fine. But when my horses ran, you're a nervous wreck because you cannot control what's going to happen as soon as that gate opens. And there you see Mr. Chris.
Yeah, part of the inaugural class of racing journalists named to the Media Honor Roll in the Hall of Fame, and last it was inducted into the Hall of Fame for the National Handicapping Championship, which he helped create that event back in 1999. It's time for a paddock report now. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Bayern for $15,000.
And Greg will actually begin with Steve Christ's horse that he owns in partnership with trainer Phil Gleaves, and that is Mineshaft Blues. And she's a half to Bonita Springs, so she is proficient enough, certainly, on the turf for that pedigree to carry through. And here in the paddock, in regards to Mineshaft Blues, big, good-looking filly. I like her physicality, but mentally is pretty green here. And that's not necessarily typical of a Phil Gleaves horse. Usually his horses that I've seen this year have been very professional, but she's a little bit on edge, which for me is a cause for pause a little bit here. I like her a lot physically. I just don't know if first time is going to be the right time to get to the winner's circle. Number 6 is Doc's Way, another one with a pretty nice pedigree, a half-sister to Selenite, who's competitive in our New York bred stake races. And she is another one that's big, good looking, was pretty green when she first walked in here, but I like the fact that since they've saddled her, since they've gotten the blinkers on her, she's chilled out quite a bit. Now, as I said, she's a good-looking type, but she also looks as if she might want a little more distance. But then on the flip side of that, Todd Beatty, well, he's a guy that can put a little speed into his horses. So I'm not so against her debuting, going the 5.5. Now, number 2 is Espresso Shot, one that is taking some money for trainer Jorge Abreu. And she's kind of the same deal. She's a little green when she walked in here, but since it's chilled out, and she's beautifully put together. Kind of all legs in here, a daughter of Mission Impossible, but the pedigree's not quite as strong on her. I like her physically, and she represents herself well, but then again, another one that's kind of big and rangy. So is she hinting at wanting more ground? Now, the one that does look like a turf sprinter is the one that's bred to be a turf sprinter in number 4, Plink Freud, a full sister to plenty of turf winners, turf sprinters going long and short as well. But she does look like the sprinting type. She is built downhill, big engine on her. The fact of the matter, though, is she's really quiet here in the paddock. I don't get the feeling she's quite revved up for her debut. But as I throw it over to you, Andy, you cannot ignore this pedigree on this gal.
I'm just impressed with how modest Maggie's being here. I mean, there's a horse that's a half this horse that's named for basically Maggie's husband, right? Maggie's lad.
Maggie's lad.
And of course, her husband also trained Amazing Ann. It was a nice run on the turf. You know, you and I both picked Plink Freud in this race, Gabby, because the pedigree's there, just what Maggie was talking about.
It's a standout in terms of the rest.
Tom Bush, the trainer, who's a terrific trainer, is not a guy who wins with first-time starters.
Yeah.
And I don't mind taking a stab with a 9-1 first-time starter because we just don't know anything in this race. But whether or not this horse can be ready, and Maggie's a little dubious about that first time out, that remains to be seen. But at 9-1, I got to bet a few dollars.
Yeah, she definitely looks, hopefully she picks up those energy levels as she gets out to the track, as we can see her kind of head in between her front legs and not having a lot of energy, as Maggie was alluding to. But there are horses in here that have some experience. I just don't I'm not confident in the quality of the fields that some of these horses come out of, including the one Endarta.
It's interesting. The one Endarta is 7-1, and the 7 Mike's Girl is 2-1. And Mike's Girl beat Endarta by a quarter of a length, and Endarta showed speed that day.
Bizarre.
If I want one of them, I went Endarta, and she's 3.5 times the price. I don't love either of them either, Gabby, but isn't Endarta right now an overlay, or the number 7 Mike's Girl is a big underlay?
Yeah,
or
both.
Or both.
Both.
Right.
I think it's both. And Endarta, she's got speed. She's got the rail. You know, I do wish that Dreineken, the filly that won that last race, would come back to run a little bit better in the Bolton Landing yesterday. But as we look at the 10 Mineshaft Blues for Phil Gleaves, Rajiv Mirage getting a leg up in the saddle.
Well, I gotta root for my friend Steve Christ. It's very easy for me. I don't have to bet Mineshaft Blues. I'll tell you one thing about this horse. Phil Gleaves, and of course Phil trains this horse for Steve and his friend Ken. He won with 2 two-year-old first-time starters in turf sprints at Belmont Park.
Yes, he did.
Both of which were giant prices, both of which are entered in the Skidmore tomorrow. So one thing we know Phil came here ready to do, win with firsters in turf sprints, 2-year-olds.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny that both of them have fit the bill, and they've actually been pretty productive here. Now, the Mineshaft Blues, as we kind of mentioned, she's got a nice little pedigree, too. If you're looking at other turf type of pedigree, she is a half to Bonita Springs, who was a multiple winner on the turf, albeit going a bit longer. So there's a lot going on in this race, especially because you have to think that the horses that have experience are a little bit suspect.
Yeah, and none of us, we haven't talked to the 2 espresso shot who's taking a lot of money for Jorge Abreu as we head back to the roof.
Well, you got a good look at Phil Gleaves there. I'm not sure what he was saying to the camera. Maybe this one's ready to win.
Work a little style. He took a little Steve Asmussen's hair and got some sunglasses working.
Looking good here, feeling good. You see the call to post there from Sam the Bugler. Of course, Phil Gleaves trains Mineshaft Blues. That's Stephen Christ horse who will have the outside post. We'll see last year in the post parade. We'll kick things off with Endarta. Showed speed in that Dreineken race. Speed and fade. Now start number 2.
Yeah, 35-1 last time out, and I would think same tactics with Luis Reyes. Go to the front and see how far we can go.
Espresso shot, the 2. It will be Irad Ortiz Jr. that meets leading rider for Jorge Abreu.
Taking a lot of money at the window, this horse. Not really a superior turf pedigree, but I think you have to respect the money.
Trumpet the 3, daughter of Super Saver for Gary Gullo with David Cohen aboard.
First-time starter for Gary Gullo, and this filly by Super Saver out of a pretty decent mare.
Tom Bush trains his first-time starter, Jose Lezcano, in the irons, Plink Freud.
Tom Bush, a terrific trainer who does not win with first-time starters very often, but this horse has a lot of pedigree to handle the grass, maybe the best in the whole field.
Doc's Way, Jose Ortiz rides for Todd Beatty with a daughter of Tiz Way.
As mentioned, a half to the very talented Selenite. 4-year gap between these foals. You don't see Todd Beatty in New York too often.
Steve Asmussen sends out Mike's Girl with Ricardo Santana Jr.
Took some money first time out, and I thought underperformed an underlay right now at 2-1.
Biggest price on the board, the 8 here, first timer for James Ferraro, Lady Day with Luis Saez.
Well, Billie Holiday's Blues is the dam, so she's well named, but she doesn't have much pedigree for the grass and not taking much money.
Alpha betting, here's a first timer for Gary Contessa, Joel Rosario aboard.
Purchase for a bargain price of $6,500. Didn't see much turf pedigree there, though.
And Mineshaft Blues, Phil Gleaves trains this daughter of Mineshaft with Rajiv Mirage.
Has pedigree, has a trainer who's been good in these situations, an interesting player.
7 minutes to post here in our finale on the card here on this Thursday afternoon. Let's get more insight and go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Pleased to be joined here in the paddock by trainer Tom Bush, who will be sending out Plink Freud. Very cleverly named here, Tom, and certainly a filly that has a lot of turf pedigree.
Yeah, I mean, she actually shows it in her workouts, too. She's much, much more effective on the grass. And when she was in Ocala, they thought the same thing, too. So we're on the right surface, and she's bred for it, obviously. So hopefully she's going to show up.
Now, some of the family were a little more proficient going longer. Is there any concern about the 5.5 distance?
I mean, this filly is kind of a typey filly, not a big, long, stretchy filly. And she's been very keen with her gait work. So I think 5.5 is the way to start. But her pedigree does suggest further, but she's not particularly built like a distance filly.
That she's not. I observed that as well. So best of luck here with Plink Floyd. I know you wanted Pink Floyd or Plink Floyd.
Plink Floyd. That's what I wanted.
I know. We could have a nice little duet here, singing a little Pink Floyd song.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, Greg, can you sing some Plink? Now I can't even say Pink Floyd. Can you sing it?
It's a tongue twister.
I'm not even sure I could say the name. I'm going to try
You
to
ready?
keep it simple with the 4. No singing allowed on the roof. We've already made that rule in the show. There is Plink Floyd. There, I did it. At 9-1, making her debut for Tom Bush. Jose Lezcano going to try and get her to the wire first.
Teachers, let us bet alone.
We'll be back. Nightcap coming up. Stay tuned.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. Now his flashy first crop yearlings are turning heads with a striking resemblance to their internationally successful sire. The sky's the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, our finale coming up here on this Thursday card. We're just 2 minutes to post. We saw that piece on the starting gate crew earlier, and there they are doing their job. One of the best starting gate crews in the entire business here for the New York Racing Association as we take a look at Doc's Way with Jose Ortiz aboard.
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting runner, and the reason why Jose getting aboard a Todd Beatty runner. Todd Beatty has been a fixture in Pennsylvania, at Presque Isle Downs, and at Penn National, and like a perennial 30% trainer. And him and Stephanie, part of the family, very good horse people. And for them to bring this horse here, a $20,000 purchase, I get it, he's a New York bred, but to get a rider like Jose Ortiz and to take a little money, I would think this horse has got a little bit of speed, and Todd owns this one as well.
Yeah, Paul, you bring up some great points, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this filly because, you know, Todd Beatty doesn't run that many horses in the New York circuit, especially not here at Saratoga. But, Andy, this is a trainer of multiple graded stakes winning types like Terrace and even Fabulous Strike, right?
Yeah.
Who came up here to win the Vanderbilt.
Yeah, and Fabulous Strike obviously was exceptional. Terrace is the only horse that he's run in New York in the last 5 years that's won. He's won for 13, but also keep in mind, this is a New York bred. And this is where she's supposed to run, and she's bred for turf. So this is where she kind of has to run. I'll tell you what bothers me about this horse. There's a 4-year gap between the last foal and this foal, and I don't like it when a broodmare has that much of a gap between them, Gabby. Is that something you have experience with?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I do think it's legitimate as we check in quickly with Maggie Wolfendale.
Sure, that is a reason to be concerned about Doc's Way, but it's not stopping me from taking the sharp Todd Beatty trainee, as Darter showed speed in her first start. I'm not getting the impression that she's going to show that speed here today. She might from the inside post, but she's a little bit more relaxed. But on the flip side of that, she's actually a little more fit. So I think that bodes well for her. And Tom Albatrani is a guy who kind of likes to bring his horses along a bit here. So at 6-1 for a filly that has experience, why not? Right, Greg?
Absolutely, why not? This is a wide open race. You can make a case for quite a few of them in this spot. Who is going to step up? We know that the one inside is probably going to be the speed of this race. Andarta was quick out of the gate in the debut. She got warmed up like they wanted to go to the front again today.
Yeah.
With that experience under your belt, maybe that speed holds a little longer. What do you think?
Well, the way the racetrack is played, maybe. It's played on the route races. Speed has been good. We'll see going short here. But, yeah, I would think if she gets out of the gate good, she's got the shortest way home. I'll tell you what, I'm not a horse flesh guy. That is all Maggie Wolfendale. But, wow, I know why they named the 2 Espresso Shot. He looks, or she looks wonderful on the racetrack, that little 2.
Daughter of Mission Impossible out of a Medaglia d'Oro mare, Glory Gold. The 2 Espresso Shot on the board at 5-2. Actually, the second choice right now. But the favorite, that is the 7, Mike's Girl. We're going to close things out here on this card. Right here, let's send it upstairs to Larry Colmus for the call.
Ready for the start. They're off, and Darta darts out of the gate. Right to the front from Mike's Girl, who came out running in second. And then it's Lady Day in third. Mineshaft Blues on the outside, follows in fourth up the backstretch. Espresso Shot is down toward the rail. Then it's Doc's Way to the outside. Plink Freud is next, Trumpet, and Alphabeting at the back of the pack. So they make their way for the far turn in pursuit of Andarta. Mike's Girl pressing the pace on the outside second. Lady Day is third. Then Espresso Shot on the inside after 21.85 opening quarter mile. Circling the field, Doc's Way is beginning to roll. Doc's Way is now up into third within 4 lengths of the lead as they make their way to the top of the stretch. Plink Freud also putting in a bid. Turning for home, it's Andarta. Andarta turns for home with a 2-length lead. Mike's Girl is running in second. Espresso Shot is third. And here's Plink Freud on the far outside is making a bold late bid. Andarta to catch in the final furlong. And then comes Mike's Girl. And on the far outside, Espresso Shot and Plink Freud. And they're coming down to the line, and it's gonna be Andarta. Andarta holds on over Mike's Girl. Espresso Shot and Plink Freud in 103.88.
Luis Reyes playing Catch Me If You Can, and they could not hear the nightcap with Andarta.
And we saw Andarta, the filly with a little bit of an experience, actually take the field wire to wire, utilizing her speed from that rail post position. Actually, the horses that had experience finishing 1-2 here. But in terms of the first-time starters, I actually thought Plink Freud didn't run a bad race. Just a little bit green on her wrong lead coming down the stretch.
Yeah, you're right. In the 7's trying really hard, but the 1 won the race right out of the gate, Gabby. I mean, the race was over, broke so sharp and had a length on this field, and she put the 2 Espresso Shot, and you're right, Plink Freud was able to make up a little ground, but experience paid off here, Andy.
Absolutely. It was all about experience. The 2 with experience running 1-2, and we talked about it before. For some reason, the 1 Andarta was 5-1, and the 7 Mike's Girl finished second was 2-1, yet their PPs were the same, and you knew the 1 Andarta had speed. This was a case, if you like these, and I didn't like them, but if you like the ones with experience, you're supposed to be betting Andarta. That's the very essence of value.
And sometimes you can just let the board tell you how to play the races, and it works out for you. As you take a look at winning trainer Tom Albertrani, 5-1 on Andarta here. The daughter of Declaration of War gets the win in the nightcap here on Thursday.
Well, the key was, like, she never really got headed, right? She's clear, and there's nobody really got to her hip. She was able, right here, left-handed, Louis strong left-handed. Now, for a split second, you see the 7 really starting to pick it up, even on the wrong lead, just never getting there. And the 2, Espresso Shot, they all look like they're grinding away. I don't know if it's a great group, but I think all of these fillies want to go a little bit longer, but Tommy Albatrani's got to be happy. At least he looks like he is at 5-1.
So it's going to be talking to Maggie Wolfadale. Just jumped into the picture there in a moment, we hope, and we'll hear from him and his thoughts on this 2-year-old filly. Gets the job done here in the 9th. Let's go downstairs to Maggie now.
Here with winning conditioner Tom Albatrani. And Tommy Andarta, she was quick in her debut, but that fitness certainly counted today.
Yeah, she was really quick last time. I liked the way she ran. She got a little leg weary the first time, just kind of needed that race. And today I was hoping to see that improvement and had enough to last to the end.
Tommy, talk about using Louis Reyes, a guy that kind of flies under the radar, but that you've been somewhat loyal to.
I like Lewis a lot. He's got the ability. He did really well as his bug in New York, and I think he's just a young rider that's going to, eventually rise to the top.
Having a great meet here, Tommy. Talk a little bit about your success.
Better horses make a change in everything, right? But they're doing well. We're running well, and hopefully we could continue on for the next couple of weeks.
Looks like you might be heading in that direction. Congratulations here with Andarta.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right, guys. Andarta, maiden no more in only her 2nd start.
Getting the job done. Gate to wire. Had the inside post to be able to sneak out of there quickly and kept on going. Tom Albertrani, Luis Reyes, and Chris Larson, your winning connections.
Here's the thing now. This horse got beat by Drinikin, who we saw yesterday. Got trounced by Stillwater Cove, a filly for Wesley Ward. Now, I'm not saying this is a great group. This is a maiden special weight, but wow. Stillwater Cove could be moving along pretty forward, considering what this little filly did. I thought this filly ran good right here.
And, of course, we're going to see another Wesley filly who scratched out of that race against the boys on Friday in Shang. Andarta with the victory in here. We'll be back with prices, pick 4, Naira Bets late pick 5 payoffs, all of that coming up and more right after this.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe, running a 105 buyer and winning by open lengths. Mastery, new for 2018 at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to Saratoga Live. And the nightcap was taken by Andarta, and pleased to be joined here in the winner's circle by winning rider Luis Reyes, who picks up his first win of the Saratoga meet. Luis, that's got to feel good.
First, thank you for God for everything. Very happy. My first win in Saratoga, maybe the more tough racetrack in the world right now. Very tough, best riding, best trainer, best people. Very happy. I'm very emotional.
Oh, that's very sweet, and also winning for a guy that has given you a lot of opportunities in Tom Albatrani.
Yeah, he helped me. He helped me with my backboard year. He helped me here in Saratoga, put me a couple horses. This horse, the first time running good, a little tired, the last 1-8. Today he's more fit, he's working good in the morning, and I come in with very confident with the horse and the horse winning.
And talk about your inside post. How advantageous was that given her early speed?
Well, he no bring me instruction. He only bring me Luis the first spots. The race up a little bit outside. I needed breaking and go. Yeah. I needed the horse is breaking good all the time for the gate. This is help me. He breaking today very good, and I go to the lead. I know waiting for another horses.
You did it. You took it all the way on the front end. Very good. Congratulations here with Andarta, Luis.
Thank you so much, Maggie, and thank you.
You're very welcome, Luis. One of the nicest guys in the room here, guys.
Thank you, Maggie.
Luis Reyes, well done. Gets the victory here to close out our Thursday card. And let's go back to the start here. So keep your eyes on the 1. And the horse's next story gets a little assist here.
Yeah, if you watch the 3 through like 7, they really bunch. And the 7 comes in, destroys the 6 and the 5. I'm listening. The gate is something that the stewards, it's tough for them because the horses break in and break out. But the 7 broke sharp, and the 6 and the 5 and the 4 took the worst of it. That even shows me even more that Plink Freud, Andy and Gabby might have been on the right horse. But you can't take anything away from Andarta. She ran this field off their feet. And you know what? Congratulations, Luis Reyes, getting that win at Saratoga. It didn't look like he was an emotional, but he sounded like he was. That was awesome.
Tough to win here. This is the toughest jockey colony in the entire country. Hall of Famers, 2 of the youngest top riders in the country, and the Ortiz brothers, so many other just great riders like Manny Franco on the rise as well. So to win here, even just get your first one in the books.
It's a big thing. And here's the thing. It's a double-edged sword, right? You're riding against all these Hall of Famers, but then you're learning from all these Hall of Famers. And that's what I think Luis Reyes is doing. That pick 5 is going to pay big again. Andarta, Declaration of War, the Footsteps in the Sandmare, Sable Brown. And if you had that one, it netted you $2,700 for the $70.
Pick 4 comes back
75 cents.
$283. Wow. Myra Betts late pick 5 with super fast added in there, $2,770. So almost $2,000 more.
Pretty good.
How about that? Saratoga Showdown, free online contest. Wow, that's creating some money.
One of the biggest ones we've seen,
$513 bankroll created today.
That's some handicap in Mathoma.
Well done. You're playing for free points and an entry into a grand prize package for tickets to next year's Belmont Stakes. When you get involved with the showdown, you're not risking any of your own money. Go to NYRA.com/showdown to get involved each and every day and play along with the races for free that we show you here on our show every single day. Show brought to you in part by Run Happy. Champion sprinter of 2015. Undefeated over the course of his career. Sprinting, perfect 7 for 7. All while doing it without the addition of Lasix medication. He was a horse of a lifetime for Mattress Mac.
Yeah, he really was. And I was fortunate there to be at the Breeders' Cup when he won and passed Private Zone. And I still to this day try to tell people, one of the hardest horses in the past, I would say 5 to 10 years to pass in the middle of the lane was Private Zone, and he went right by him and showed you the brilliance of Run Happy.
Set a track record in the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Keeneland, now on to his second career at stud, part of the continuing legacy for legendary Claiborne Farm.
Run Happy's first foals are on the ground. Everyone's excited about the Run Happy foals, and he's throwing his quality and looks like his speed and athleticism in his foals. And if they can run like him, I think we'll be in really good shape.
I get a lot of calls from people telling me what great foals they've had by the horse, and they love them and this and that. I mean, you know, they're all kind of similar, you know, color, size, physicals. So we'll see as we go, but so far, so good.
But yeah, no, you see a lot of Run Happy in a lot of his foals.
Well, we bought Run Happy at the Keeneland sale several years ago and bought him for $200,000, so best investment I ever made.
To have a horse that was medication-free throughout his career speaks volumes. I mean, you know, most of them have to have a little something every now and again. That makes him pretty unique in today's world to run at the level he did for a period of time he did it.
He's a drug-free horse. We think sports ought to be drug-free, so we try to practice what we preach.
But I think the race that probably really got our attention was the King's Bishop in Saratoga that year. And that kind of, it's like, you know, when he rebroke at the top of the stretch and opened up and won as easy as he did, it's like, wow, okay, yeah, this horse is for real.
It's Run Happy in front. Limousine Liberal, Holy Boss can't get him. Run Happy has won the NYRA.com King's Bishop by 4.
Certainly one of the highlights of my life was watching him on the screen there at NYRA go across the finish line first of the King's Bishop Grade 1. So at that point, we knew we had a real racehorse.
To go up to Saratoga and win the King's Bishop like he did and run away with it and win so impressively, and then come here and, you know, his saddle slipped at the race in Keeneland and he still won, and then it looked like he was a loser in the Breeders' Cup, but he fought on, and his game and the determination he had was really impressive. And
got a little behind, was way behind at the top of the stretch, and then he made an amazing run down there and won the Breeders' Cup race. That was the Breeders' Cup Sprint champion, new track record at Keeneland. So again, just a testimony to this great horse and the team behind him, which was, you know, Laura and Cordell and the team that devoted so much time, effort, and energy to Run Happy. And we couldn't be prouder to have Run Happy and have him stand at Claiborne Farms. That is myself and my daughter's happy place. We love Claiborne Farms, and Run Happy loves being there. He won at Keeneland, he won at Santa Anita, he won at Saratoga, several of the legendary places in horse racing. And what a great horse, what a great thrill it was to be around Run Happy and now to follow his stud career.
that was probably one of the most famous stalls in maybe Central Kentucky, maybe the country or the world even. You know, it had Bold Ruler, Secretariat, Unbridled. Now it has Run Happy, so we can see if he can continue on with the tradition.
To the stall of legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
When you can look at an object and put it down on paper or canvas, I really think that it's something that's God-given and something that you're born with.
I was always drawing stuff, and I always loved horses. As I grew older, I kept drawing, and I wanted to be a jockey. Well, I was 39, and I wasn't where I wanted to be as a jockey. And I couldn't see a big future there. And eventually, I made the transition to just a full-time artist.
I've always loved horses. I loved art, and I was a horse-crazy kid. And my father used to go to the races all the time. And when I was 12 years old, and my father snuck me in, I loved it. It's been a passion ever since.
I would say Sunday Silence and Easy Goer from the 1989 Preakness Stakes. NBC Sports used it during their live Breeders' Cup Day coverage, and Larry King wrote about it in his weekly column in the USA Today. Doing the painting of it ensured that this is what I'd be able to do for a career.
My most recent painting of Justified. Mike Smith is a very good friend of mine. He's accomplished so much as a jockey. That was just remarkable. So I'd say that was the one.
By the time I'm done with each successive one as I've gotten older, I feel like that's the best one I've ever done. I'm gaining in skill, I'm gaining in knowledge. I don't have a favorite, and I don't have one that I'm more proud of than another, to be honest with you.
Lady Eli winning the Diana Stakes last year. I'm a huge fan of Lady Eli. She's an amazing championship mare.
Each painting that I do, I try and outdo the painting that I did before. So some of my earlier work, I wonder, what was I thinking? You know, because it was like, it looks like it's half done. So I paint one, and then I paint another one that I think is a little better. But I like them all.
A great opportunity to take home a souvenir that you'll remember for a lifetime right when you walk through the gates here at Saratoga.
Yeah, it really is. That's why we always say it's more like a festival. And the other part about this is, if you don't have a shirt that you like, you can buy a new shirt. If you're a woman and you don't have a fancy hat, you can buy a fancy hat. You can buy fancy clothes, fancy art, and you can see the fancy Greg Wolf.
All this great stuff here at the premier race meet in the country. Great place to get it right as you come through the doors here. Well, community outreach booth hosting Canines for Warriors this afternoon, dedicated to providing service to our heroes suffering from PTSD. Their goal, empowering those veterans to return to civilian life with dignity and independence. They're actually the nation's largest provider of service dogs for disabled American veterans. Well, equines, too, have had an increasingly huge impact with veterans. But this next story is about a horse who became a war hero who were still in active duty. It was arguably the greatest $250 ever spent by the U.S. Marine Corps. This is the story of Sergeant Reckless.
Reckless was bred to be a racehorse, but sadly she never had a chance to race because her 2-year-old season, that's when the war broke out and racing was suspended. So instead of becoming a racehorse, she became America's greatest war horse.
I think what impresses me most about Reckless's story in the Korean War is that they bought this horse at a race park in Seoul and turned it into a combat enabler.
Lieutenant Eric Pedersen was the man who purchased Reckless for $250, and he was the commanding officer of the recoilless rifle platoon. They decided to put her through hoof camp, which was the equine version of boot camp.
We hear about on-the-job training. This was the epitome of it. Literally, this horse was trained to lie down under fire, to protect itself, it knew how to avoid obstacles and barbed wire. And truly, after just a couple of show and tell on the fly routes, the horse would do it by herself.
They would take her up and down the hills to get her used to carrying the pack saddle and the ammunition on her back. These canisters of ammo were very large. And before Reckless came along, the men had to pack this themselves. The camaraderie between Reckless and her men was something special. She was the only animal in camp, and so the Marines became her herd, and she would follow them anywhere and everywhere. She would even sleep in their tents at night. She would follow them into the mess tent and eat breakfast and had bacon and eggs. Even after a battle, she would have a beer with the guys.
The fact that Marines could depend on the horse to do the resupply routes, that means it wasn't just a horse to them. It was somebody that they were in the fight with.
What started the battle for the Nevada cities is at 7 o'clock at night, 3,000 enemy soldiers descended upon 3 outposts in this area. Reckless's men were guarding Outpost Vegas. They, of course, were overrun, and so Reckless's mission began that next morning. Started loading her up with 6 rounds at a time. By the middle of the day, she was up to 8 rounds at a time. She knew what her job was, she knew where her men were, and she would go up to the guns by herself.
There are stories of up to 50 times in one operation that she ran a supply route by herself. That frees up Marines for combat and for other things. So I believe that that's the most impressive part about the horse.
She carried 386 rounds of recoilless rifle ammunition. That's over 9,000 pounds on her back. Incoming fire was so fierce that the men couldn't hear themselves talk, and Reckless was in the middle of all of this.
Under artillery fire and mortar fire, she continued to do her resupply mission for the Marines, and especially having been wounded twice, and that not having deterred her to continue to do her mission through the end of the war it's really astounding.
They had a ceremony sending her off in October of 1954. Is when she left Korea. She was the guest of honor of the Marine Corps Ball that was at the Marines Memorial Club in San Francisco. And she waltzes through the lobby and gets in an elevator and goes up to the 11th floor, sachets out of the elevator into the ballroom. She spied the anniversary cake over on the table, and before the guys could get a hold of her, she was up to her nostrils in it. And then after that, she moved over to Camp Pendleton. At Camp Pendleton, while Reckless was there, the Commandant of the Marine Corps promoted her. There was a 19-gun salute in his honor, and a parade of 1,700 troops walked by to salute her. She had 3 colts, and she had a filly. Sadly, the filly died at a month old. Unfortunately, all the colts were gelded, so there is no bloodline for her. Her story just kind of disappeared from the pages of history. And what's interesting is she was as famous as Lassie and Rin Tin Tin in her day. She was an iconic hero. And when she died, her story made the front page news in newspapers across the country. And she was buried with full military honors.
I first came to light on the story of Reckless at the National Museum of the Marine Corps in Quantico, Virginia, where a statue by the same artist who did the statue that's behind us was erected to honor this great mare. I think Staff Sergeant Reckless's legacy is going to be that the courage and the dependability that she showed in combat made her truly what the saying is, not just a horse, but a Marine.
Such an incredible story, and she truly became just one of the guys back during her service, but decorated as well, and will always be remembered.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing story. I've watched that probably over 4 or 5 times, and it just still gives me chills every time, and you just don't realize what kind of job they did back in those days and what kind of animals they really are and kind of the personalities they have.
Horses, we're seeing more and more, and obviously with how they help in equine-assisted therapy.
Yeah.
Bring so much more help to people outside of the racetrack
Yeah.
as well in second careers.
Yeah.
We're going to take a look back at one of the key races from earlier today. Now, when you get to the racetrack here at Saratoga, this is a little trip down Union Avenue. That's the Hall of Fame. You just passed there on the right. Wait, are they going the wrong way?
We turned
Turn
around.
around. Turn around, please.
Turn around. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, so now when you, right there is where you get to the Saratoga.
You're going the wrong way.
Yeah, you're going wrong. You make a left, or you go right, you head towards downtown.
Okay.
That's iconic right there. That's a great, you see a lot of people take pictures in front of that statue.
It is beautiful. Union Avenue, great little walk to the racetrack. And of course, the Union Avenue happened earlier today.
Yes.
6.5 furlongs, fillies and mares 3 and up. Pico Uno, heavy favorite for trainer Jason Service, coming off a stakes victory at Belmont last time out. Let's see what happened earlier today back in race number 3 here at Saratoga.
They're all in line. They're off in the Union Avenue. Pico Uno and Swingin' Sway sent out of there with early speed. Absolutely is away running in third and will sit just behind them. And then it's a hard scent, Bonita Bianca. The trailer is Wonderment up the backstretch, 5 lengths off of Swingin' Sway, who's taken the lead from the favorite Pico Uno. She's going to let her go and sit back in second position. Absolutely guided to the outside in third. Bonita Bianca's fourth outside of Wonderment. And now 5 lengths separates them all through a 21.57 opening quarter mile. They make their way into the far turn. Swingin' Sway and Javier Castellano up top. Iran Ortiz Jr. keeping the favorite Pico Uno close by. She's 3/4 of a length behind. Absolutely is third. Bonita Bianca circling up on the outside. Fourth, Wonderment will ride the rail around that turn. Races 4 lengths off of front-running Swingin' Sway, who's been joined by Pico Uno after a 44.02 half mile. They're into the stretch. Pico Uno makes her move now on the outside of Swingin' Sway. Bonita Bianca's trying to get involved too. Furlong to run. Pico Uno, Swingin' Sway keeps on battling. Bonita Bianca down the outside. It's these three. It is Swingin' Sway, Bonita Bianca. Pico Uno is back to third. Here's Bonita Bianca. Bonita Bianca and Manny Franco do it in the Union Avenue to Swingin' Sway. And then it was Pico Uno followed by one.
Bonita Bianca, the blinkers coming off today, trained by Jason Service. Manny Franco with the victory.
Wow, what a ride Manny Franco gave this horse. At the beginning of the race, I don't know if you noticed or heard it, but Larry Coleman said, Bonita Bianca being hard sent. And the reason why, it seems like she's sort of a lazy type, and Manny stayed on her the whole way, the first time he's ever been on her. And on the backside, she looks like she was dead. She looks like she was dead on the top of the lane, but he kept on going and going, and she kept on persisting. And the better price of the stablemates gets the job done.
2 wins today for Manny Franco. He is 22 for the meets. That's good for 4th place here. He's in the hunt.
He's having a really good meet. And like I said, he gave that filly a great ride. You could see another fist pump because he had to work to get by his stablemate, Pico Uno. Take nothing away from the 2, Swingin' Sway, who did a lot of the dirty work and actually put away your heavy favorite early.
Well, again, big weekend coming up. It is Alabama weekend. We're going to see some of the top 3-year-old fillies in the country going head-to-head. Of course, no Monomoy girl in the spot. Wonder Gadot, she's going against the boys in the Travers, but Midnight Bisou, it's her race to lose. But again, the big question mark for really everybody in that field, who's going to handle that 1.25 miles?
Exactly. That's always the key, right? I mean, Midnight Bisou is the horse to beat. But there's some quality fillies that are on the rise. She's going to have to keep on going if she wants to be in the same, at least, sentence as Wonder Gadot and Monomoy Girl.
Well, back in race 6, a highly touted Chad Brown first-time starter. Didn't yet get out of the gate all that well. And then Pink Sands under Joel Rosario, winning her 3-year-old debut for Shug McGahee and Gainesway Stable. Impressive, and she could have a bright future ahead of her. In the 8th race, our feature, Florent Giroux taking Cool Beans gate to wire on the lead every step of the way for the win. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 Eastern Time.